On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, we have a humdinger of a pre-release campaign for the Learning With Manga collab. We've also got the Guda Guda Hanoji rerun happening. Wasn't the final Guda Guda, who could have guessed? And of course, that collab's coming out too. Requiem, it got announced.
Yay.
And also the usual yelling at arcade, but we've got all this and more on Let's Talk FGO. Hello, I am one of your hosts, Omega. I am currently being pollinated. With me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Lucky.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka getting ready to collab. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest and FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EM version of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should ask for welfare beast servants.
There's something slightly ironic about that last bit.
I know.
Give me a chuckle. Die. Sorry, there's a fly. It keeps attacking in my monitor. I think I squished it. I was trying desperately not to make a huge clap in your ears, audience. The sacrifices I make for y'all. Hello, everybody, though. Welcome back to Let's Talk FGO. We've got some striking news today, and we got some mailbag as well. Lots of other little things. We hope you'll have a fun time here. Not super concerned if the show's going to be shorter, though, as last week's show did great. I guess you guys were really jonesing for that extra Lucky action after he skipped a week.
Apologize again.
It's okay. That would just make the comeback all the sweeter.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a few things to go through. First of all, I would like to remind everybody this episode is brought to you by patrons like Adam Tarbar, Comics, Akazima, Arctic Tank, Bugs G, Carlos, Dragon, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Justin Fay, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boston, Liam Kester, Region Raptor, Rogue Robyn, Sharvar, Sean Pryor, Some Guy Named Bob, 723, and Varian the Crow. If you like what we do, want to do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early on, so the good and helps us out. Thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm not quite at the level where I can make that one continuous sound wave without pauses, but someday.
You'll get there, and then someone else will add their name, and you have to do it all over again.
Yeah, I have to relearn my flow. But okay, let's just keep trucking, because we've got some meteor news, and the business times are a little lean. I'm not even going to do my sound clip for Protip, because that would be longer than what I got. I genuinely have nothing. I can't think of anything for Protips this week. I tried to rack my brain. I didn't have anything. Doesn't seem like there's any crazy new features that have cropped up. There's nothing to really keep aware of. We're doing a rerun. We got a collab coming, but it's coming.
It'll coming.
I don't know. Keep agitating for them to localize light novels. Translate them. Bring them over. Sell them. Sell them to me in my native language. Thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
Please Nobu responsibly, everybody.
Yes.
But I do have a couple of things I can talk about in our regular segments. I mean, I guess we could talk about the strengthenings, but that's in the news. Anyway, first, Records on the Throne, a regular achievement topic. So, due to time being weird, it did not match up with the tickets, but on the Musashi Day, I did, when it came back around, I did throw the 30 Saint Quartz they gave us back on. All I got was a noodle granny. This is new, so, you know, technically achievements, but yes, my quest for data lost continues. I'll be doing this for forever, though there are some lucky bags in the future. That said, I do have a slight Not All the World's Evil. As, you know, talking about this rerun event and all that stuff going on, I seem to have lost my copies of the Damage CE somewhere.
Oh, no.
Not exactly sure how that one happened, since those auto-lock. But yeah, they're not there, and they're not my second archive, so I guess I must have accidentally yeeted them on a binge. I do have to clear out, unlock and clear out 5-star CEs when I, you know, go on my spending sprees, because I got a lot of those shits. I have so many fucking Ideal Holy Kings to throw away, and, you know, I'm full on, like, limited zero over and formal crafts and stuff, so no, I went clear out to reset all filters, so no, it's just they're I don't think they're there. I was double checking. I'll double check my filters again just to be safe, but in that case, maybe next week I'll have a record, so I found them, so I can find some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to move swiftly on to ask you the question: did you finish your master missions? So this week's master missions are defeat 5 servants, defeat 10 servants, acquire 15 embers via drops in battle, acquire 30 embers, defeat 15 humanoid enemies, and defeat 15 demonic enemies. So, this is a little weird. The main thing you're going to want to do is, basically, you can get this by playing the event, but it is not required. The main thing is you're going to have to go to do EXP dailies to get the EXP missions. There are no EXP drops that are reliable in the event itself.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, you can catch these all up just by doing event farming. Otherwise, you can slam a jam Fuyuki XF for your demonics as well as servants and humanoids, technically. I think skeletons are both. Actually, no, it's the servants who are humanoid and servants. So that'll be pretty simple. Hit that like 3 times. If you need more servants and more humanoids, you can hit Septem's Massilia. This is all credit to that one Reddit poster who regularly puts those out. And then the rest you just do XPs. But also, like, everything but the XPs you can take care of in the event. There are plenty of humanoid enemies, and there are some demonics, even if you gotta hunt for them.
Yeah.
So, should be fairly easy. I know the only thing I need to do is actually, like, take a break and do the Ember farming, which I still need to do, because despite all that stuff with the feverish leveling, I used all my Ember juice on getting Tomo maxed out. So I still have not cleared my last ascensions on Dioscuri or Romulus Quirinus because goddamn SSRs. So I need to take a break for that anyway.
Yeah.
But okay, God, that fly is still not dead. Damn you. And if you wonder why I must keep talking about the fly, I would ask you how focused you can be when a small object... Pure reflex.
We heard that one.
Yeah, pure reflex. It floated in front of my vision. Well, when a tiny, fast-moving object, flashes through your eyes, you don't react to it. That one might have got him. I don't see... Landed on my nose. That's the other problem. This guy's a cheeky little fuck. I'll try not to make too many more claps, but you're just gonna have to deal with it because, like I said, I don't know what about the light waves of my PC monitors get him. It's probably because Google Docs doesn't have a night mode. Because my second monitor has Discord in night mode, and that one doesn't seem to attract flies. So, but I'll probably have to keep making that sound as I try to murder this motherfucker for being all up in my grill. Like I said, try to land on my nose. Yes, I do believe Discord does have a day mode. I don't think I've ever seen anybody use it.
Oh, I have, and then we shame them.
Yeah, because I think it'll melt your fucking eyes. Listen, I think Google Docs is like the only software I know of that I use regularly that doesn't have a night mode, and oh my god, and like when they finally do that, I don't know when, but when they finally do that, man, I'm gonna be locked in. Like I have regular Chrome in night mode, it's great. I think it actually is better for your eyes.
I think it gives off less blue light.
Let's do some news. Because this is pretty chunky. We got a lot of stuff to work through. So, JP has launched Advanced Quest Part 4. Not only did this have the Dragon Fang CE, which they advertised last stream, but actually added 3 total CEs to this, including the one for octuplet crystals and proofs, which I know everybody was asking about. So, yeah, this is pretty good. I, for one, approve of them doling these out multiples at a time. And they are still advanced. I do believe you need to clear Babylonia to do the proof one, or maybe it's the crystal one. I think it's Septim for proof, and it's crystals or Babylonia. But still, like they're definitely splitting them up so that you need to like have progressed in the story to get these out of the way. So you need to do your work. But yeah, proofs, crystals, fangs, all good shit. If they continue to release these at this rate, then we might actually catch up and have these for most of our old school drops in the not too distant future.
Ooh.
The joke I made off mic is that I'm glad they just moved to multiples, because if they did this one at a time, like a month, we'd probably be here for the next 7 years. Considering that every new story release chapter, they have to include new mats. And sometimes events, too. But alright, the big one is to lead up to the FGOX Learn With Manga event. We have the Learning With Manga collaboration pre-release campaign. Started on 420 Just Plays It. And will end the 4th of May. And this is a big pre-release, guys. There is a lot of stuff they've dropped on this. So, first of all, they've got a 7-day login event for apples and SQ. Just like 3 SQ. Couple of apples of each kind. But we also got Bunyan's costume and the Volume 2 commemoration CE are added to the RP shop. If you have cleared America, you get them for free.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, throwing in little lovely details. Additionally, All the Statesmen is now free in main interlude, and if you bought it already, your RP will be refunded. So continuing that process. They rerun All the Statesmen like 4 times, so it makes sense for them to just permanently throw it in there. So here's the fun one. We have a big boy rotation of raid-ups, several paired raid-ups here. So you've got, for SSRs, you've got a rotation of Tama Lancer, Saber Astolfo, and both Da Vinci's, and a rotation of Summer Helena, Summer Mary, Summer Ann and Mary, so Summer Muddy and Summer Ann and Mary, and regular Astolfo, plus all Rio-drawn CEs are included in the banner. So, very chunky little raid-up. Bringing back several limited units, including Tama Lancer. Everybody shout out to Lucky for calling that shot.
Go me.
So, yeah, it's an interesting banner to come up. And also, holy hell, it's like a rank-up quest event. There are 5 new rank-ups with this pre-release campaign.
Hmm.
So we're going to run through them all. First of all, Altera's natural body is now Perfect Construct EX. It gives her a 20 to 30% battery and a 20 to 30% critical damage for 3 turns. On top of it, already being a heal, a protection from offensive debuffs, and the star weight up. So now she also gets critical damage for 3 turns and a 20 to 30% battery. This may be a recurring theme. This is fairly decent, though. Altera is definitely, like, compared to the buffs that they had given, Mordred and Artoria in the past, and how Dioscuri just exist, definitely was lagging behind a little in permanent sabers. But this will give her a solid niche, strong in that critical department. Here's another big one. Tama Lancer's Goddess Metamorphosis has been upgraded. Now it has no stun, no delayed stun. It also gives her a 20 to 30% battery, and the Stargen and critical buffs don't become stronger, but they now last 3 turns. Mm-hmm. So, I talked about this off mic. This is an interesting buff because I think it gives her the longevity she needs in the era of break bars and other bullshit, because Tama Lancer was already basically a guided missile. If you have a male archer, that guy's dead. He's dead.
Yeah.
But with, like, break bars and unremovable guts and other bullshit out there, there's certainly the fact that if you do her big buff, it only lasted 1 turn and then she stuns herself after, it's kind of meh.
Meh.
This definitely gives her a role in that it gives her more turns to actually capitalize, and it gives her a battery so you can go into her NP.
Yes.
Easier. Which is, just, again, it's like a theme or something. Hey, so Summer and Mary just get the 20% battery added on their second skill. Which was before it was... Oh, let me make sure I'm pulling up my rate website here. So, before all that, their second skill was... Yeah, just increase Star Absorb and give you a Star Bomb. So now it also gives you battery. Not exactly the greatest effect, but their NP does reduce enemies' defense for 3 turns, so... Mm-hmm. You can use that to soften up for a crit turn, I guess, is what they're going for. Even so, it's a battery because these are a fucking 2 arts card servant with 2-hit arts cards. Like, in general, a lot of this NP gain effort seems to be Lasengel now going like, hey guys, we did not necessarily have hit counts and NP gain figured out for the first couple of years. We don't want to just fix the numbers, and we can't... They probably can't fix hit counts because that requires, like, animations and shit.
Yep.
Mechanics to be readjusted. But giving servants small batteries so that they can catch up better is fairly decent. Summer Helena's NP has been buffed. It gets the usual multiplier increase, and it also gives the party NP charge 10% and increase it with overcharge to a maximum of 20.
I do believe this will actually let her maybe loop.
Yes.
Not entirely sure.
Especially with the art support that exists, this probably puts her better at looping. And even so, it just makes her, and she was already fairly arts focused, this...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so she can loop. Yeah, that was definitely a complaint before about Summer Helena's kit. So she can loop now, and also it just in general makes her fits better into arts teams because now she's generating NP for the party. So works out. And now for our last rank up, the only one that did not get a battery added is regular and Bonnie and Mary Reed got a buff to their marksman skill. That's their second skill, which was marksmanship before was just like plus 100% crit damage for 1 turn. It is now also a 15 to 25 star bomb. So, and they're a rider. So, not only do you do double crit damage if you've got this skill maxed, you also will have stars to crit. So, definitely rounding that one out there. Along with the fact that their first skill was buffed to give them not only star rate but also guts and some NP increase. Should pad them out a little in terms of our 4-star riders. Really, I also appreciate the inclusion of star bombs now as well because it's just like, who needs to wait a turn to work for those stars?
Well, that's like. I don't know how I feel about this, but that is literally the two. There's literally only one of 2 strats on killing things in FGO. One is you MP it to death, or 2 you crit it to death. So
yeah, they've done a lot with damage over time, but that's still not like the numbers still don't counter like what big crits or big NPs do.
No, so I'm definitely like you see this with a lot of rank ups is they usually are trying to push servants into one of those two categories. Either they get really good at crits or they get really good at NPing. Or
And
usually
to be fair,
or some sort of support to aid one of those two.
right? Yeah, because you can do non-damaging stuff. And to be fair to Anne and Mary, the regular version, their writer form already had that marksmanship B for plus 100% crit at max level, right?
Right.
So this combined with the fact that they had a star absorb buff just lets them generate the crits right away, so you can use them on a turn if you need to. You don't need to wait for stuff. Which can be important because the way their NP works is the whole, do more damage on lower HP stuff, and they've got their guts that got added by their first rank up. So this gives you something to do when you're not, on a razor's edge of death. So yeah, makes them more consistent. That is definitely something that I think Lasangle has been leaning towards, and even when they were still Delightworks, is trying to make servants perform a little more consistently. Not necessarily true solo, that's very rare, but making servants a little more, self-contained to actually, do the thing they're supposed to do without you needing, a specific limited SSR. Though, those certainly do help. So, we also have a staggering list of bonus servants that has been announced.
Staggering.
So, buckle the fuck up. This is not even me, listing all of them out. I'm simplifying. So, basically, you've got both Astolfos, both Alteras, just regular Artoria, of course, Sigurd, Dion, regular Nero, Prince of Landling, both and Bonnie and Mary Reeds, so regular and summer, both regular and summer Helenas, Urale, Vishra, both summer and regular Tamamo. Interestingly enough, only Lancer Liz and Cinderelli, the newest welfare Liz, Canis, regular Jean and Santa Lily Jean, not Jolter, and not Summers, all forms of Da Vinci, so that's big, small, summer. Summer Ishtar, both Mary Antoinettes, regular Rider Martha, Ushi, Boudica, Anastasia, Sheba, Edison, Rhyme, Nitocris, Medea Lily, Osakaba Hime, Jack, Yume Ren, Stheno, Wuzetan, again, back-to-back bonus servants, Hassan of the Serenity, Adelante Alter, Kiyohime, Bunyan, of course, Yang Guifei, and Mesh. So, basically the bulk of our core cast from Learning With Manga. And this has been clarified, this will be both a damage and a bond bonus for all these servants.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to, when we get to here, I'm definitely gonna have to force myself to use Tamamo a lot more.
Yep, you get them extra bonds. The Da Vinci's, that's pretty good for me. Got both of those. Yes, I don't remember Sigurd appearing in Learning With Manga, so that's a new one. I will say, I think this is a very interesting list. There are quite a lot of previous welfares on this list. And also, there are, while not really any bronzes, other than Bunyan, which kind of doesn't count, but there are quite a few silvers, some of whom we haven't heard from in a while. Like Urale and Kiyohime. So, I definitely think this is a good bonus servant list, even if it's hard to discuss, because it's fucking long. Woo. Yeah, Vishra, I think, is new. Though, I don't know. Vishra is a vaguely snake-like lady. I'm not going to say she hasn't showed up in Learning With Manga.
Snakes. Alright, every time. It's just what I think.
I mean, I'll take the Python bonus. That's still... completely off topic, but I'm okay with killing time. Somebody in our Discord posted a hypothetical, if there was a SSR ticket for a limited-only Year 1 servant, who would you pick? And I had to be well, probably Shuten, because I still don't have an SSR AoE assassin. I think Python is my best AoE assassin. Other than just, Huck. I mean, Gray's pretty decent as well, though. She only maximals when you got trait damage. So it would probably be between maybe those couple. But it's that or use all of my ST limited assassins to just beat up the wave anyway. Because I've got a lot of those. My MHX is NP2 or 3. It's kind of nuts. So, yeah, certainly wouldn't say no to Python there. Like I said, the Urale and Stheno is also very interesting. It's good to get some memes back there. I'm kind of hoping this means that we'll run into Learning With Manga writer, because there's a shitload of assassins on this list, y'all.
I think so. We're talking collabs. Collabs, usually give a lot
of
characters.
Yeah.
Last year we only got Crane
at the very least it's welfare and SSR, right?
Yeah.
And somebody, by the way, has that chart of tracking the servants. So yes, that the Waltz one was fairly lean in terms of servants because it was only 2, but one of them was a welfare foreigner, which is pretty good.
And costumes for days.
Yeah, shitload of costumes. I'm kind of hoping this one also at least includes a couple of costumes.
Clearly, what they're going to do is they're just going to make Rio version servants that you can use as costumes.
That would be pretty funny.
I think so.
Also, by the way, we do have a stream date, the 27th, with 12 Saint Courts on the line. It will be hosted by Mafia-san.
Yeah.
Guests will be Kawasumi-san, Nobunaga. I wonder if he'll find something to cosplay. And Omigawa Chiaki, who is Bunyan's VA, of course.
I'm excited.
Yeah, this seems like it's going to be a fun one, but I'm going to have to catch it on the flip side, because it's going to be streamed at 5:30 in the morning for me.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And on a Wednesday, too.
But yeah, Welfare's going to be like cooking. Is going to be Welfare Super Bunyan or something.
That would be interesting. I don't think so.
Nah,
they're probably going to bust out some of the... They got a backlog. I think the most curious thing to me is, like, okay, but the banner. Like, what's the banner going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot they could do for welfares, but there's some interesting things going on. I'm sure we'll have some, like, rough plot deets, as it were, out of the stream. They'll probably, like, show some screenshots, maybe read an introduction, figure some stuff out. I'm going to wake up and our Discord's going to be on fire, and I'll have to pick up the pieces and figure out what happened. But that is the end for that news, though, very exciting. We'll get more of that cleared out. Now we have not quite as big, but a decently heaping helping of NA news. So first of all, we got a Australia and Southeast Asia release anniversary celebration. From the 19th to the 20th, got 10 extra Saint Courts, celebrating the fact that we opened up in those regions. And we got our Revival All-Out Nobunaga Assault Guda Guda Final Hanoji 2021 Light.
These titles are always a mouthful.
Yes. Once again, though, I would like to remind everybody, yes, I will not stop laughing at people who were like, there's not going to be another Guda Guda, the last one was Final Hanoji. Anyway, this is running from the 29th until the 2nd of May, and man, we going fast. We speed here.
Zoom.
Gotta squish in that time. No delays. So, usual rerun stuff, get rare prisms for repeat copies of Kagetora. Kagetora has double EXP, all these fun little, things. You can get second shots at some of your command codes, and you also get rare prisms from those, I believe, if you've got them already. Just having a fun time. Speaking of which, we have 3 new rank ups. I would recommend doing these. I've cleared out all the ones I can do. But we've got a few. So first of all, Mao Nobu's second skill now adds 30 to 50% damage versus heaven enemies while on a burning field for 3 turns. So just increasing her damage potential. Something I know a lot of people complained about when she first dropped, so this is part of patching that up. Next up, Summer Nobu got an NP rank up, so not only does this get the normal damage increase, which is pretty good for a Buster Berserker, but also it now makes the field burning for 3 turns. Nice.
Super important.
And Ogiten gets one of her first buffs here. She gets 3/3, so 3 hits, 3 turns, 10 to 20% attack up on her second skill. That's her battery. So just making her damage numbers a little more consistent over time. That is, once again, another thing that I believe that she was a little lacking in before was maximal damage output. Sometimes this is what happens when they hybridize a servant between a couple of card colors. So just get some attack up, do better. We also have a banner clusterfuck. So at all times, Summer Nobu and Mori are on rate up. You can get Mori and you can get Summer Nobu. And we also have a rotation between Mao Nobu, Ogitan, and Old Man Lee at other times. By the way, if you're wondering, Lucky already said he didn't end up having time to do one at Mao Nobu, but also I didn't have time to do one at Mao Nobu because this came out of left field. Mm-hmm. They were just like, no, it's happening. I'm like, shit, we're not even through the downloads campaign. Fuck. So it happened. We'll leave that one in the archives until we finally have enough free time to do it the way Lucky wants to do it. But yeah, so we just blitzing through these things. I assume this was probably announced at the panel at SakuraCon. That wasn't streamed in any way, so I think they went for a little bit of a lower impact appearance so far this year.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear a lot about that panel, so I assume it was pretty normal. I kind of want to know, I really want to hear, I kind of hope we get a stream before this. I would really want to know Albert's opinion on working with Requiem. Because that's our last bit of NA news. Fate Requiem Board Games of the Apocalypse, which I think was a joke I made. Didn't realize that was actually what that event was called. But Board Games of the Apocalypse will be happening from the 6th of May to the 19th, so you still got a few weeks. Next week will be our pregame for that event. And also keep your eye out for Wanted Voyager. But yeah, I'm very curious how they handle that one, because like with CCC, obviously we had at least the first extra over here, and so and also it was several years, so I believe most of the broader Fate fan base would have an opportunity at least to be aware of what CCC was referencing, right?
Right.
But while obviously we're on the internet and people probably know at least that Requiem may exist, I don't know what that's like working with something that's like, there's no direct touchstone. All the source material's in Japanese still. I know Albert can read Japanese, so I don't know. Did they float him some copies of the light novel in Japanese for the staff to work with? Who knows? But yeah, so we have a time frame as well. They gave us quite a lot of advanced warning, as they do sometimes at conventions, so you know when that's happening. And then to wrap this all up, we have our last little bit of our regularly scheduled Yelling at Arcade. So Arcade, obviously, it's late April. Sorry, scratching my nose. Maybe try to remember what month it was. And Arcade was doing kind of its final push, their own final Singularity thing. So seems like they're wrapping up their story. They have gotten access to free welfare actual SSR alter ego Queen Draco. So one ascension only, it seems like, or at least no different sprites.
Yeah, it's just one ascension and final.
Yeah. Same NP as the one because this is the small one, first showed up in Babylonia as well. And there seems to be lots of foreshadowing and stuff, but it's also very confusing. There's a lot of math going on that I don't think makes any sense to anybody. My general thought is, I know obviously people are very agita about Arcade. They get a welfare SSR. Neat.
Not so agita about it. I'm more of the person of just what is the thought process behind this?
Yeah, I assume it's just to kind of celebrate the fact that you've completed their version of the main story, right? Because there's, from what I can understand of how it wraps up, they do technically have an open door for some, post-game content, basically their EOR. I think there are some unresolved plot threads that Arcade could continue through. But the joke I made before we started rolling the audio was, I don't know if it's all for Arcade. Anyway, the joke I made was if we completed part 1 and we immediately got, Gatia, right?
Right.
But for us, the way the story of, the first part, Timeless Temple ends, that doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
But I don't know if that's the same for how the Arcade version of the timeline or whatever's plotline was supposed to be. I do know there's a lot of interesting, stuff going on. Yeah, that's another thing people talked about, was that MASH has a Bond CE and you can go to Bond 10 with her and grail her in Arcade. Which, once again, I'm like, okay, on the one hand, yes, that's annoying, but also, man, that gives me real, we're done vibes, right?
Right.
Because, that's the thing about MASH, is she's always upgraded with story. So, if you're done upgrading her, does that mean story's done? I don't know.
What is happening here?
Yeah. So, like I said, I've got two thoughts about this. Number one, everybody who is following mobile, I would say to buckle the fuck up for a event coming to a game near you in the vein of CCC or OQ. That seems to be one of the very, very strong vibes that people are getting from the way Arcade has wrapped up this story.
Interestingly enough, you can almost say, with the OQ stuff, it's it seems to be oh god, what's the word I want to say? It's it has its own kind of storyline-ish. The things are interconnected and whatnot. And usually it's to a character. It's usually to a character that might be a little beastly and whatnot. So yeah, definitely
our beast resolution stuff has definitely been going through its own mixed story. Obviously 1 and 2 were handled in the story of part 1, but then both parts of 3 were separately, and I guess you could argue 4, but both parts of 3 were in standalone events technically, one of which was pretending to be a collab, but was really kind of a main story event, hence why it's in main interlude now. And just something with, Koi and Sky happened with the Tunguska event. Some sort of thing. I don't know if we've got hard and fast numbers, but a thing happened for sure.
I mean, the Tunguska event kind of feels like how an OQ event would be.
Yes. It's not quite like Lost Belt 5.5 Heian Kyo, which is an actual Lost Belt style map that becomes a main interlude later. Tunguska was definitely a limited time story event, like an OQ, like a CCC. Arguably like how they've handled Prison Tower and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure that OQ is going to end up in main interlude probably sometime this year for the obvious reasons. And I would not be surprised if Tunguska doesn't, end up with like whatchamacallit, reruns and then eventually ends up in main interlude as well. But yeah, it's really interesting. So I expect, while it may not be the Arcade collab, I suspect some of these plot threads from Arcade are going to come back to roost for mobile sometime this year. Just, thinking out loud. And the second thing is, like, I really don't know where Arcade goes from here, right?
We also have the problem of we don't know the actual story and whatnot to see any of those plot threads, but we were talking about this earlier. Like, even though, Japan's arcade culture is still stronger than ours, it's still slowly ramping down. Like we talked about, the Sega closing.
Mm-hmm. Sega's arcade division closed, yeah.
Yeah.
Who co-produced the game, in case you forgot that part.
Yeah.
And I know the pandemic was a huge hit to arcades. That's probably why it feels like Arcade has been going so ham these past couple of years, is because they've been trying to keep butts in seats, metaphorically. Mm-hmm. But they've completed what seems to be their equivalent of part 1, so like I said, I think it seems like they've got some loose ends they could leave open for some postscript events, but also I don't know where they go from here. I know there's a lot of speculation that people are talking about. They're expecting FGO will announce some kind of 3D 3D action game, because like a lot of the other major gachas have done that already or are doing that. Though I would say with Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, 2D fighting games aren't out of the question either. Come on, guys.
Man, I would love a new Fate fighting game. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, like specifically Fate. I never got to play Unlimited Codes, but I heard it was pretty cool. And we know they're tight with the guys. What is ArcSys working on right now?
I don't know, actually.
It's a question of, can you say arcade spoilers? I mean, is it actual? Like, listen, I've read everything you guys have posted in #spoiler channel in the Lost Zone. So, like, it seems very confusing. I don't know. I know that there's some hints with some characters that they've got some stuff left to do. But also that it seems like they're deliberately talking about other stuff. Oh, okay, so they said that it's a doomed timeline. I mean, aren't all the timelines doomed? That strongly sounds like if they said that in the text of the event, that strongly sounds like the context of hey, we're going to end soon. Like, that sounds almost like a meta comment. I have not seen that sourced, though, so let me know. Go ahead, Lucky. Clearly,
that means it's going to become a Lost Belt in some way or form.
Yeah, I don't know. So, like, obviously there are alternate timelines where things didn't work out. A lot of people have hit us with some back and forth about, like, our discussion of the thing with, like, Wodaime's version of the timeline, which was a simulation that is separate from the conversation Nasu had in the interview where he talked about who could have made it through part 1.
Yeah.
Those are two separate plot points, as far as I understand it. Okay, so that's some interesting motivation stuff. But yeah, so it sounds like Arcade is in a wind-down position. So will they have, like, story postscript? Will they just keep the lights on and, like, do banners and stuff, or leave opportunities for people to catch up?
Oh, what if they pull a fucking Extella and do a fucking do a body to God, what were the other two? What was the other parts?
Send the body to the mind and spirit?
Yeah. If we're talking Doom timelines and stuff, I don't know. Listen,
that could be interesting. We know that's possible, right?
Right.
There are some very interesting things. Like I said, I suspect not only will this come to home to roost in mobile, but Arcade has to do something, whether that's like, close the doors and turn off the lights or whatever. But I am strongly wondering because, as we've discussed before, somebody built built's probably not the right word, but somebody was able to get the code of the actual game of Arcade and get it to emulate on PC. It has server authentication, as you would expect from such a game, so they can't actually play it, but they've got the code. So, I am wondering if, like, Losengo might want to capitalize on that as a new revenue stream, because they already have this product, right? They have all the assets, they put all the work into it. If they're going to just close it up because it's not profitable anymore, or they concluded the story and it's not worth continuing to invest the tech in, there's, I think, a lot of questions here. The other thing I do want to throw out is I do want to remind everybody, because obviously a lot of people are like, oh, you get Queen Draco for free. I would like to remind everybody that allegedly, Mother Harlot has been data mined in FGO since very, very early, along with quite a few prototype characters. So keep your minds open, y'all.
I mean, a prototype collab isn't off the board, I don't think.
No,
Or
nor would possibly making a like Beast 6 event, because that's like Arthur's whole plotline is he's punching Beast 6 or trying to. That's what was in his trial quest. Making that basically be a soft prototype collab also wouldn't be that weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few data mine servants who haven't come out.
Like, I'm still hopeful to get all this stuff. So I'm not necessarily I knew some people are pretty livid about the things, but I'm like, nah, this is fine. This is fucking fine.
I mean, like with MASH, I'm just like, I mean, okay, that's neat, but that probably means that they're wrapping things up. I suspect we won't get to that level with MASH until we're very close to this part of the story, like ending, because part 2 is supposed to be kind of a definitive end for the Chaldea crew. What that means for like further stuff, because they have. We're supposedly getting Lost Bout 7 this year, but we also, I believe it was Nissan who said they've got enough content for 10 years of FGO at least. And once again, I assume that this is not planning to end just in 10 years, because Sony and Aniplex spent how much money to acquire the single? Like, you do not need to be worried about FGO as a brand's long-term future, because some people are investing very heavily in this. It's just the main thing that, like, Nasu is kind of pivoting his focus a little bit after this part and the parts that have been written, because he has other shit to do. He can't write full-time for FGO because he's got to work on his Tsukihime remake and whatever the fuck else he wants to do after that. Play Elden Ring. I don't know. Mushrooms earned his free time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much he's involved in the extra remake, but that's definitely something we're a little radio silent on right now. I believe that we can say pretty clearly that project has been delayed. I'm still pretty excited for it. I would love to get it out there and, maybe do it on the channel, but, still, waiting, seeing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nazu probably has basically rewritten extra for, modern times, probably much in the way that they did, Tsukihime. I'm actually curious if how much he's rewriting, Mahoyoru.
Yeah, I don't, because it's supposed to, I think, just be I thought it was supposed to just be like an HD, like, remaster, like they're redoing the graphics and the music and maybe like adding some CGs. But if you can, why wouldn't you take an editing pass, right? Especially if you're translating it into other languages.
Yeah.
I would expect probably not like major plot beats to get changed, but they may
probably
take some edit chances.
They might soften some blows and edit some softs, because give it the public pass, Yeah. I don't know. For
extra remake, what I'm personally expecting is I'm fairly certain when they wrote extra, Nasu did not think there would be several sequels, right?
Right.
So I strongly expect we will get some foreshadowing or some flowing into CCC and into Extella. If straight up we don't they surprise us with like. I'm still waiting for that fucking for there to be a remake trailer and then the BB channel thing breaks in. Like, I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Actually, now that I think I don't know about that, because that's the thing about Extella. Extella doesn't necessarily reference CCC at all.
It's true, because CCC is basically like a waking dream. Like,
yeah.
Unless you do the like super double true ending, you get sent back to the near side and forget everything. I believe there is still some allusion to it, after all, because Liz shows up in Extella.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still very much a like weird phantom situation. Definitely possibly build up to some Extella stuff, because Extella was kind of its own unique end state to Extra, so I'm wondering if there might be like an ending to Extra that directly lines up with that. Or not, who knows. But yes, that's what we got on that front. Arcade trucking along. Let us know your arcade theories. How would you prefer to obtain your arcade knowledge? Lucky and I talked a little bit off Mike about what they would do with a home port like PC and console, because I feel like something like that's probably coming just because they have all the assets, and you don't waste assets, y'all.
I talked about it a little bit. My theory, if they were to try and bring it to the port, is it would actually take a little bit while, because they would actually have to strip it down and rebalance it to remove the gacha elements and actually probably make the playstyle more like Extella and Extella Link, and you just unlock characters. Or or another way is you might have to earn some sort of in-game currency to roll the gacha through like playing and whatnot, and then you can probably buy the currency.
You can PvP in arcade, right, guys?
I don't remember.
I feel like there was some demonstrations of that. Yeah, so I could see like doing PvP stuff for like currency.
Yeah, they could Genshin it, but again, the problem with it is that Genshin is one of those games that is still ongoing. If they were to release this port now, it would be one complete package. And so doing things like banners and whatnot would be a little weird if you have the entire game at your fingertips already.
Yeah, like everybody in Japan anyway would possibly know already what happens, and even in the States you would have like the flow. It would be different. I would also say I would not necessarily think they would Genshin it because that would mean you have competition, right? If you're trying to beat Genshin with FGO Arcade, like, or whatever you'd call it, because it's not in arcades, but you know what I mean.
No, but honestly, I think the best thing for them to do is just to get a solid price point, make the main story, note this, the main story just all in one thing, and as you can go through it, you unlock characters. And then you have like special seasonal events, and like other such things as paid DLC, which come with an event and a new servant. Ta-da!
And I would definitely say that I think the market of video games, like Genshin aside, because Genshin was kind of the first gacha game to make that big, to console and PC leap, where arguably it's better when actually playing it on a console. And there are certainly free-to-play games that are like that, but they're not 100%. Usually the free-to-play stuff is like to cut corners, to just get all the grinding out of the way. But other than that, like unless they were gonna make it a free-to-play game, which I don't know if they would, especially because they would probably have some dev cost in like rebalancing the game and actually doing some programming stuff, because it's not. I've heard several people talk about how it needs to be rebalanced because it's not necessarily a perfect product on arcade machines. It's more for the novelty, and being pay to play. So you would probably want to turn that into some kind of marketed angle. But the general current of video games has kind of gotten away from the full microtransaction.
Yeah.
Like, usually either a game is fully free to play and then usually supported through like cosmetics and stuff, or it is the singular price point, and then when you were buying DLC, it's usually like pre-packaged content that's fully available. Some of the best-selling games of our current generation and our era don't even have like for reals DLC, right? Like a lot of single player games don't, unless you count like the director's cut versions, but like there wasn't core DLC for shit like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, any of that stuff. There are still season passes for a lot of the big shooters, but that's like the season pass, right? Like you buy a battle pass or whatever and it unlocks more stuff. Even Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is not like yes, you can shovel out real money to get gems to buy card packs in fake life, much like you can in real life, but there's also a fairly decent return on currency inside the game, and you can make decks that work. And honestly, you don't need to pay real money because Konami is kind of slowballing that game, and they haven't really changed the meta that much, so you don't actually need to buy that many decks. If you want to like make the best meta decks, you can just pick one and probably work for it free to play, because it has robust free to play features in it. So yeah, I don't think that like literally a gacha game but on console will work as well, especially because there already is one of those that seems to be doing pretty good. I suspect DLC would probably be the better way to play it. Just be like, hey, $4.99, small DaVinci download, run the version of the Children's Day event or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, with that, we've got all of our news and speculation and stuff. Love to hear your thoughts, audience, about all that stuff. Let us know. What's your arcade dream team? How would you like that to shake out? And with that out of the way, though, it's probably time for the mailbag.
Oh, it's time for the mailbag. Hang on, I had to grab my monster. Oh, it's cold. Oh, Jesus, why is it so cold? It's been on my bed for like an hour. Oh, it must be cold in my room. I am numb, apparently. Anyway, everyone, it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO mailbag, a segment where we read what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week, we have, I will do a refresh to be kind, 19 submissions, which means we'll probably get through all of them. Omega, what's our back half looking like?
I don't have anything planned. I could probably make some shit up, but it's fine. We're almost at an hour with just the arcade stuff, so I'm good just cruising. We got 19.
Let's cruise! So let me just flip some levers, pull some switches. make sure the hula girl is dancing in the windshield, and let's take a drive. So, our first one comes from the joys and confusion of a new phone. I hope it was an upgrade, my dude. But they say, so how spoiled were you guys going into Lost Belt 5? I know Omega has to peak for free games and Lucky tries to avoid them. But how much were you able to avoid after released in JP? I'm curious because while I do check out new servants animations and voice lines a bit, I never try to look up story translations or such. That didn't matter to YouTube or the creators that posted translations of both. This was when community posts were new, and there was no way not to see the screenshots they would post without first selecting the post and then turning them off for that creator. After finishing the story, I couldn't help wondering how much more impactful it would have been not knowing I was going to see certain characters again. More general question, what was something that you're spoiled that ticked you off the most? Hope you both have a pleasant evening. So, for me, I'm gonna say I'm slightly spoiled. Just because, again, like, in this line of business, I do have to do research, I do have to, like, look things up and all that stuff. And the one that pissed me off the most, this wasn't actually one that someone spoiled me, I spoiled myself. Which means I can get mad at no one but myself. But
the worst.
Yeah. But, I was doing research on Beast, and guess what? You Olga Marie popped up, and I was just like, wait a fucking minute.
Yeah.
And, that completely spoiled the end of Lost Belt 5 for me. And a little bit of the things around it, because unfortunately, I'm one of those people that as long as I don't look at it, I'm fine. But the moment I look at it, I have to look at it.
Yeah.
So that got me because there. But most of it, like I didn't know. Like, for example, I didn't know anything about I knew Aphrodite was in there because she was in the CM, but I didn't know about hecking Demeter at all. I didn't know about how the twins were. I didn't understand like how Canis and Modaime and all that crazy stuff was happening, because that was one of the things is like people talk about like translations and stuff. Like, I don't know how, like, but I don't ever see that stuff. I don't see people like doing that stuff. And like when I see people like I avoid Twitter for a bit, I avoid YouTube for a bit. I try to
that's the thing you gotta do is you gotta hunker down a little bit. It's unfortunate, but it is true. For us, our spoiler policy of the way Spoiler Channel works is for spoilers themselves, pretty low tolerance. Like, if you are talking about content that is story related and brand new in JP, you must post it in Spoiler Channel. If you do not, somebody will delete it. And we have mods who are caught up on this shit and will get rid of you. NA stuff is a little loosey-goosey. Generally, we wait until, either the show where we talk about that stuff comes out or a couple of weeks after before it's free game. But, once something has come out and hit the shelves and it's been out there for a while, and it's, your own problem for not having read the content, that's, on you. We like to give you a little grace period because we know not everybody's made a free time, but, But definitely the YouTube thing. I'm trying to remember. So I'm like vague spoiled on most things. I will usually, when something drops, I will usually check in on Spoiler Channel posts just to see if people are like okay and existing properly. If it's like really intense, I will usually mute our Spoiler Channel for a couple of days and let the dust settle. But that's all like usually people posting screenshots of like characters or CGs or something, some rough ideas of some fights. Like I have a very, very vague idea about some things that happen in Lost Belt 6, for instance. Like I know a couple of the plot beats and some stuff, because people talk about it, and I've seen CGs, but like overall, like actual details, no. And usually I keep it that way. That leaves me eager to like read the final version. Like, I understood, like, the bosses, because I'd heard people complain about them and stuff, and some of the back-and-forth relationship, and the idea that, Wodaime was a nicer guy than he let on, though we still have to fight him, so I was very eager to read this stuff. The things that got me slammed the most, like, right out of nowhere was Koyanskaya's beast form, because some people posted YouTube videos about that, where they were not coy at all, and YouTube's recommendations don't give a shit. This is one of a couple of reasons why I don't really engage with FGO content on YouTube, because otherwise we're gonna fall in a hole, which we don't want to be in. I'd really like to be able to open up my YouTube homepage and not have it be spoiler, 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 spoiler. And I'm trying to remember the context. I don't know if it was probably not a YouTube video, but I also knew about you, Olga. It was probably from somebody posting a screenshot of that one CG in our spoiler channel, and I just happened to look at the wrong time. And from there, it's just like, oh, it was either that or it came up when the second OP came out, because that has some screenshots in it. Some moments, some slam jams. But yeah, the one that annoyed me the most was the Koyanskaya thing, because it was just a fucking drive-by. I just, like, opened my YouTube and just, like, in my recommendations, it's like, Koyanskaya Beast Battle Walkthrough, and I'm like, damn. Well, fuck.
Might even say it was a Koyanskaya, 9 drive.
Yeah. And it was just like, well, shit. You couldn't have softballed that one a little bit? No, I understand. I'm in this business too. You need SEO, but like, Jesus Christ. Damn. Big Zam.
Wham, bam, thank you, Zam.
Apparently saying damn with the Z, Zam, is also just like a thing on the internet. I've seen several people doing it. Now they got me doing it. Yeah. Zam.
You can't see it, but I did the face.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I've seen it in a couple of places, and I don't know. Maybe it's Z for the Zoomers. It's what the Zoomers are saying. How do you do, fellow kids? But yeah, that was the big one for me. Like, I think obviously I knew about the which I think we could have figured out which gods were still alive after the people translating Atlantis anyway. So it was like, okay, so with Aphrodite, Demeter, Zeus. I saw the new designs for them, like their humanoid forms and stuff. Also because art, and I mean, I'm like, am I gonna turn down looking about a what Arco design? Nah, it's good. But yeah, that was the big ones. I think in general, I feel like there might have been a little bit of pushback from that, because I feel like with either the story of Lost Belt 6 is so goddamn incomprehensible, or there was pushback because I felt like I saw that a lot less when 6 dropped. Like, maybe I don't think I was...
Column B?
Yeah, could be column A, column B. I don't think I was outright spoiled by anything that I myself did not try and engage with and figure out, right? Like Lucky said about, like, figuring stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it was just like pictures. Like, everybody knows about the Fluffy Boy. I don't think a lot of other people don't know about that Fluffy Boy. Yeah, I know that a new class exists. Just because he's very popular and he's everywhere. I know a little bit about that guy, like what he's called. I don't know if we want to bring that up, because that might be spoiler for people who just see him in all the streams and merchandising, but that motherfucker is impossible to avoid. It's a very popular design. It would be like trying to hide that, like, Oberon exists after he had a banner. Yeah, he's out there. He's a pretender. There's nothing we can do. Other plot details and, like, order of stuff, I don't fucking know. There's so much, like, misinformation and half-truths when new story content drops in JP anyway that I, like, ignore most of it. Like, if it's not a screenshot of a CG or, like, an in-fight shot, is it true? I don't fucking know. It's like talking about all that confusion with Arcade earlier. It's like, I literally don't know what's up anymore. So, I guess I'm a little hardened to some of the spoiler stuff, just because I'm like, I don't know if I believe you. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You can tell a person a JoJo spoiler and they won't believe you. You could say anything happens in JoJo and it could be true, and it changes nothing. Sometimes FGO is like that. Yeah, Mafia had those big stacks of papers. But yes, I'm fairly certain that usually I have a little bit of a firmer grasp going on than Lucky does, just because, like I said, I have to assemble the pre-games and, like, look at some of the boss fight lists. But again, because those are pre-translation, sometimes it doesn't make any fucking sense. And I've talked about this before in pre-games, actually. FGO has a pretty usual policy of making you fight your allies, like, at least once per story chapter, if not more. So who's an enemy and who's an ally can be a little loosey-goosey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Lost Belt 5 was... Somebody in Patreon chat about this stuff. I think Lost Belt 5 was particularly bad in terms of misinformation and just, like, misinterpretations. Like, I don't know if it was just, like, maybe because it was so sci-fi, the script was a little, like, eclectic to translate, or people were just, like, rushing to have the first translation, but... And obviously, this is always a conversation we have to take in the fact that it was translated, it was localized into account, but... I am assuming, considering that all this stuff has to get approved by, Losengle now, I'm fairly certain that at the very least the spirit is kept. Yeah, I remember that spoiler. Some people said Beryl had kidnapped Mash, and that turned out to be fucking fake, because there's a story between Lost Belt 5 and Lost Belt 6. Whoops. So yeah, like I said, I don't know what the source of misinformation was, but just, it's, it was very chaotic back then. I think that answers both questions for them. No, we're on the first mailbag.
Alrighty. Then we're gonna move on.
Yep.
This next one comes from Eos, the one with sore muscles from doing a 3-minute long plank. Yo, to my good oldies. Excuse.
How do you do, fellow kids?
I kind of saddened when you guys were doing the retrospective on Olympus and Will Diame's experience clearing the singularities with the members of Team A. You didn't mention how he found the long track horrible, even with all his magecraft enhancements. I guess we should take notice of how much the MC works out during the off time to have been able to journey with only the mystic code that Da Vinci provided. Side note, how do you guys feel about Zeus having the shortest of the remaining values of the 3 gods that Mash used the Black Barrel on? For reference, Demeter had a remaining value of 9k years, Aphrodite's had 4k years, and Zeus only had 1k years. Guess he is really pushing his systems to the brink of shutdown with all that he was doing after the Olympomachia. Sincerely, that one monks for the future.
Okay, so on the side note, I actually have a question. Did we clarify that the units were years? Because there was a lot of technobabble in the Black Barrel stuff. I'm not entirely sure
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not going to gainsay this person because when I don't actually have a fucking answer.
Lucky just got a text message?
Yep.
But yeah, like, I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm just like, I don't remember if it was years specifically.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if there was there's an actually other unit like a large unit measure for time that is just
also
easily like.
They are definitely correct that it was 9k for Demeter, 4k for Aphrodite, and only 1k for Zeus. She was like, question about that. But
I think it's definitely the thing of Zeus taking on more and more burdens and straining his system more and more.
He kept adding authorities. And for why Demeter was the longest, it's because she was the repair unit, so that means that she would naturally last the longest.
Like, also, it could also be something like comparing to like how long, like, life is a nebulous concept, and one of those things, especially when it related to God, like it could just be like, after 1,000 years, he breaks down, or after 1,000 years, like he becomes obsolete in just whatever form and function and whatnot, or just after 1,000 years, all the humans have died and he has no one, and he's just, he's just dead inside.
Yeah.
So
there may also be something to be said for also how I don't know if this would be directly related because it doesn't necessarily make sense with the way Nasser talked about it, but like the longevity of certain of those deities. I'm fairly certain that Zeus only actually rose to be like chief of the pantheon, not only after generational stuff, but also like he was only ascribed as being the chief god in the post-Greek Dark Ages, like in the period of Homer. There's strong evidence that the Mycenaean Greeks thought of Poseidon as the chief god, and there may not have been a Hades, right? So
I remember that.
Whereas, like, the cult of Aphrodite has a really long longevity because she progressed pretty evenly into Venus, but also had a lot of that back tail, the Aphrodite Aurea, and the fact that Aphrodite was also definitely Ishtar. Anyway, and Demeter also has some, like, Demeter and Persephone have some very longevity in the heart of Greek Arcadia, in the backwoods of Greece as well. So I'm wondering if it might be related to, like, possibly how long their worship would have been supported. But that's very esoteric. It's probably just, like, Zeus was using a lot of authorities and probably would have had to either, like, break back up or would have burned up all his juice early. Especially considering that, didn't we only hit him with the Black Barrel after he undid all his limiters?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, he was going maximum overdrive. Full overclock, redlining. That may explain why he also had less juice left, because he turned off all the switches. Also, yeah, to the actual, like, mention, no, you are correct. We didn't really bring that up. I don't think I really thought of it, because we always make the joke about how you don't skip leg day.
We do, and, like, again, I think we were talking, like, just overall about Will Daime kind of being a dork, actually, this entire time.
I mean, it makes sense that even with magical enhancement, Will Daime would not be good at physical effort because, he's slowly dying. it just kind of like keeps us. It's just one of those funny counterpoints, though. A contrapposto. We're not really good magically, but we're very down to earth, and they've even gone out of their way to show in like animated adaptations that the master does his push-ups and sit-ups and drinks plenty of juice. Yes, the Lost Boat manga is allegedly very painful emotionally.
Oh, it is. Like, I've read it. It is painful.
I mean, that could actually be a point. Like, usually characters who are, like, omnipotent in the Nasu-verse are kind of assholes. That's also true of people in general in fiction. But by like, putting those limiters on Wodaime, I don't know if it's necessary, because, chicken and egg kind of scenario. Like, Wodaime became a different person after his injuries, which limited his power for, like, plot reasons. But in a meta context, I don't know when Nasu decided, like, what came first, the incident or the fact that he had limited magical circuits as a result. But he definitely, like, because of the stuff in his life, he was more approachable and more limited in his factors. And it helps make him more likable because he has to actually, like, think about his goals and stuff. But it could also just be the plot beats. Like, even if his magic circuits hadn't been basically permanently damaged, he might have still been the character we know in that whole incident with the young gremlin and stuff anyway. By the way, another big misinformation. A lot of people tried to say that gremlin child was Beryl, which is not how that worked.
I never even heard of any of the things, but again, I don't pay attention.
Well, yeah, you don't go in spoiler channel. Like I said, I if it's crazy, I usually mute that for a couple of days and let people sort it out, because like there is a lot of like half truths and outright lies and damned lies being circulated right after a story chapter drops. So it's like right now, talking about like the arcade stuff. Like I think I get the vibe of arcade, but I'm not sure because nobody's 100% sure on what's true or not yet.
Listen, I just know there's a beast involved, and Proto Arthur shows up, and I'm just like, those are cops doing a shootout on the street. Okay.
Yeah, that does happen. I was very shocked walking the streets of Night City when a guy landed on the sidewalk in front of me.
It's the little things. But yeah, I think that is everything on that question. So we should move on. So this next one comes from Approaching Graduation Disaster, who says, so I finished Olympus some time ago and had some level of about this in the Discord. Where's my red pen? But I have a moment about how I felt like if I or a character I had written was talking to Odaime, I would have asked Marsbury, since we know little about the guy at all, or some other things. Though the question I have for the both of you is simple but hard to answer. If you or a character was to put your views into where the story... Bruh.
A lot of extra use. Definitely need to do some editing.
If you or a character you put your views into were in the story instead of the master character, what key scenes or important small moments would you have gone very differently? So if you guys think about this line of thinking would just change the story of a whole, that's also an answer, and I guess the pre-made out. Good vibes, wah 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 wah, and hope you guys aren't dying or losing the ability to be wake due to external events.
I mean, I don't know if it's a new fly or the same motherfucking fly, but I'm still got something going on here.
Slowly sipping this monster.
I'm lucky back on Monster. Watch the
Yeah, I am. Yeah, no, my dude, I won't super out you, but bruh.
Yeah, there's some probably needed to take a second pass on this. There's some grammar halts in here. As for the question, I mean, I think while it is a slight cop out, it is true. Some of these decisions probably would change the story as a whole. Generally, I don't know if I would actually do a lot different from the master character. I mean, I would probably try and analyze things a little bit more, but usually there's super genius characters who are even way smarter than me out there solving these before I even get to them, so... I don't
know if I change these story things, but I'd be a lot more yelling and a lot more horny on main.
Yeah, there'd probably be a lot more, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Pause? What the fuck is happening?
Excuse you!
Da Vinci, explain. The Marsbury's... I feel like I probably would poke somebody a little bit more about Marsbury, but I'm trying to remember, because some of the stuff that comes up is we aren't even there for, because that's the other weird thing, is thinking about this from, like, my perspective. FGO does do cutaways to other characters, so we as the audience get a bigger scope than the master, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. In general, though, no, I probably wouldn't change a lot. It would just be a lot more vulgar and possibly a little bit more, like, I'd spend some time geeking out with some of these people. But the master still does that. I would geek out about different characters. Like when MASH yells about Sherlock Holmes, I would also be yelling about Sherlock Holmes. I would make the world's greatest detective Sherlock Holmes. They'd probably hate my guts. Yeah, there'd probably be a little bit more back and forth. Some people are yelling at us about wrecking shit, and I'm just like, what do you want me to do? Shit's broken, Mr. President. The world's bleached. Shit's fucked.
I'd probably be drinking a lot more, too.
Well, yeah,
How old
that's
am I?
the
Old am I?
being clearly older, the just smashing the drink. There would need to be much more. We are such like not actual boomers, but like gamer boomers. There would need to definitely be some like way more performance enhancing substances, energy drinks, coffee, something. Like there is no way I am trekking all through like America and bullshit without like slamming back some coffee or something.
Ash keeps bringing the tea, but I'm like, no. Give me the good stuff.
Monster. No, it would have to be, considering the context of part 1, it would have to be like Majimari Gamer Girl Sweat, energy drink or something. Because Monster wouldn't exist.
I bet NFS Services has a fucking Koyaskaya themed fucking energy drink.
I mean, she had the chocolate thing, right, for Valentine's, so.
Yeah.
Also, there, if we've canonically summoned every servant at Caldea, I'm sure all the alchemy boys could think of something.
Oh man, Paracelsus will have some baller ass energy drink that actually turns you purple or some shit though.
And I would be like, I don't give a shit. I need to not sleep. I'm now going to commence not sleeping for several days. No, they make you take rests. Yeah, that would be it. Like, the plot wouldn't change. We would just probably be a lot more dead inside. And definitely need to slam back some more drinks.
Probably. All right.
I mean, I feel like at this point we're bordering... Discord is going our patron chat is going a mile a minute. I feel like some of these questions in chat are going a little bit more into what if FGO was like a freeform role playing game, not a visual novel with a single story.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which would be interesting, but it's probably beyond the scope of what we're doing because this is question 3 of 19.
Yeah.
Now that I care that we're taking a lot of time, but we might be getting a little too lost in the weeds.
Mm-hmm. So let us keep moving on then.
By the way, if you make an energy drink and want to sponsor us, let me know. Call me.
Anyway, so the next one. This one comes from The Eternal Storm, who says, hey guys, quick about my own records from the throne. In addition to my free waiver, I also got my first copy of Jalter and regular Arjuna, so all my XP cards are spent. Question, what would you like to see from the Learning With Manga collab? Thank you for your time, and make sure to take time for your well-being. Sir, you clearly do not know what being an adult means. My well-being literally comes last. Oof. It pains me inside, though. So, with the Learning and Manga collab, I think there's really, only, like, a few things. Like, definitely, want the assassin and writer. Because those are, I forget, are there other characters in there?
There's a whole blob of, like, the last 4 classes, but they were introduced in the, like, second volume. Writer and assassin have been introduced since Bunyan was, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are high on my list.
So those are high on my list. Other than that, like I said, I mentioned this earlier. I don't know if I mentioned this on air or not. I literally can't remember. But I find it hilarious if we got like an upgraded Bunyan, like a super Bunyan. I think that'd be hilarious. Omega says it's unlikely, and I kind of agree. But this is me going tee-hee. What if?
Yeah, it could be funny anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel slightly spoiled by the Waltz collab. I would love costumes.
Costumes would be good too. I think that's something, I don't know if I remember I think I mentioned this earlier, but if like the costumes you got basically turned the servant into the Rio version of the servant, and they just had like super simple animations and stuff.
Sorry, big yawn. Yes,
big
that
yawn.
would be very funny, right?
Right.
Like just the expressionless, over-leveled saber, Kia with her little snake tail, that kind of stuff. You could have a lot of fun that way. I think those are just the keys. I just want new servants. I'd like them off the list, and I want to, costumes would be fun.
Yeah. Oh.
Make it, and also for the future, just make it an event where I don't want to kill myself completing it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make it like 4-point ladders or something. That's just how I feel about all events. All attack animations are just Looney Tunes dust clouds.
I think that'd be pretty funny. But let's see here. Yeah, so we'll move on. This next one comes from He Who Has Become One with the Floor, drifting in an ocean of tears. Hey guys, I recently finished 5.2 and something hit me whenever something hit me. I just need a comma. Whatever becomes of Atlas, we're able to send of Brodaime servants, but But nothing when it comes to Atlas. Any thoughts on this? Sending the good vibes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure this is purely technical. Atlas doesn't really appear in the story. He is, like, at best, a weird silhouette, right?
Right.
Like, he's in the center of the tree, and then Muramasa cuts him, and then he's gone. He's important, but we don't have story sprites even for him, so I think, that's why he hasn't come out in the immediate after. And why he hasn't come out later than that, I mean, he is pretty high tier. He's like a Titan, so... Obviously, there are exceptions to our summoning system, but we didn't have an opportunity to, like, form a personal relationship with him, right? So, summoning a Titan-level entity is probably unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
I feel almost like, Atlas was basically a plot device, right?
Yeah. I forgot what, Atlas was a Titan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, have we really dealt with many of the Titans in FGO storyline right now?
I don't think so. No, not the collection of images, Wikipedia, the mythological guy. Yes. Parents was Iapetus, which was, one of the Titans, son of Uranus and Gaia, and then his mother was either one of the Oceanids, as in Asia, or which one is this? Climbing. Yeah, just one of the Oceanids, okay. But yeah, so no, he's in the Titan area. Brothers with Prometheus, Epithemus, Monotius.
I know none of these names.
I mean, you know Prometheus.
Well, I know Prometheus, yes.
And the thing, you probably don't remember his name, but Epimetheus, hindsight, is his dumbass brother from the Pandora myth.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, like, he's in a fairly important family, but other than, like, Hephaestus, Prometheus, and Hands, we haven't really engaged with the Titans. And even then, like, the Prometheus's involvement is very, I want to say, hands-off.
Sure.
But, like, it is truly indirect, right? He just sends Hansrus to fight and level up. Don't booby, I'm right. That's what I understand. I know. I made a horrible dad joke. I'm really doing my hello fellow kids today. But yeah, so we have not really dealt with a lot of the high level entities like Atlas in a direct way. He's just kind of a story mention. Obviously, while Wodaime can contract him, the things the cryptors do to contract servants is slightly different than the way we do it, right? Like, Wodaime contracted the Dioscuri after he beat them up when they were living gods and turned them into divine spirits. So, it's not like he's operating in the exact same way we do things. I think Canis was the only servant he straight up summoned normally. So yeah, that's probably the reason why we didn't hear anything about Atlas, is he's very much a Deus Ex Machina, and then he goes away. And we don't have any assets for him. Like, I would argue Zeus is probably more likely to be summonable than Atlas, just because we have something to work with there. Oops. Though, I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind an Atlas whose NP is basically just the Titan summon animation from Final Fantasy, Just fucking rip up the floor and flip it on the enemies. Classic summon animations.
Nah, I don't have any thoughts on that. But, let me see here. Oh, look, baddies. I was gonna make a joke there. Well, I wasn't necessarily gonna make a joke, but whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna move. We move on. This next one comes from I say I came. I saw I came. I gotcha. That throws me off. Salutations, impeccable, lucky, and immaculate Omega. Hope the world is treating you good. Sorry I wasn't able to catch the last few live streams, but Welsh time zones make everything so much fun. I must do better. No question here, just Welshing. Gotta forget to include more. You both some 5-star luck and all the goodness in whatever you're doing. Well, thank you, my dude. Same to you. Go up and slap that Welsh time zone. Make it obey. But we keep moving on swiftly. This next one comes from Moon is about to do battle with final exam soon. Will she prevail against microeconomics? Oh, Jesus, no. This time, once and for all, or will she fail miserably and ruin her GPA again?
Been there, done that.
God, economics is a bitch, just in general. Ugh, I don't ever want to do that again. Question, hey there, Loki and Meg. Hope all is well. What is something that consistently ruins your day/week, and why? I can say the really morbid one, but I think I'll avoid it, and I'll just say breaking my login streak. Because that does happen about once a week.
The outdoors. I'm usually pretty chipper unless nature tries to do me in.
Joke's on everyone. Nature constantly tries to do you in.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, but no, like, Yeah, recently, like for a little while, I've been having trouble juggling all my gacha games and all the other regular games and all the anime I want to watch. So every once in a while, I break my login streaks. The thing that kills me though is FGO is the only one that has a consecutive login streak. All the other ones day, it's all like, oh, you missed a day? Well, you won't maybe get as far, but you'll just pick up the next day.
Yeah, everybody is on monthly rotations. FGO is like the only one that does weekly and it resets.
Yeah, so that does give me a small amount of stress. But
I wonder if they would ever. Can they edit that even? I mean, it's unusual, right? Like it's not what the ethos of games is. It's just I wonder if they could even fix it.
I feel so mocked every time I break it. Then I go look at my days and just my days that I've logged in is just slowly getting like farther and farther from that, because even as a day one player, like I'm like a month behind, probably like closer to 2 months now or some shit like that.
Yeah, I've had some power outages. Not lately, but I've definitely missed some big chunks of time.
I'm just like,
my every 50 days or whatever is out of sync. It's definitely something like I feel like they've tried to improve on it a little. Like I think the last weekly login was definitely like, okay, so we'll start counting you again from 0 because it's supposed to be a streak, but we won't break the streak. So if you like log in 3 days, miss a day, and then log in 4 days again in a row, you can still get it back. But that's still a little tedious, but at least I feel like we're making efforts with the systems we've got.
Mm-hmm.
Raptors and Wookiees, Lucky's good at that. I used to be able to do a really good deal but I lost it. I can't summon it anymore.
But yeah, that's that. Luckily I'm logged into FGO right now, so I'm not gonna just speak goes on. But again, I've been doing horrible on the Gouda rerun. Mostly because it's a rerun. I have this problem every single fucking time where the reruns happen, especially if I went ham on the first one. I'm just all like, this is okay, but
also kind of tedious.
Yeah.
Especially those fucking centaurs, man. Permanent attack down, that sucks.
Centaurs. Stop. Let us keep moving on. Let me close these tabs, though. I just realized. Save some RAM. So this next one comes from Agent 418, who says, hello, Lucky and Omega. If too long, skip and have a good one.
I love how it's always the people who are self-conscious about their length are the ones who are nowhere near the longest fucking questions.
Every time.
We've had 3 questions that were longer than this already.
Yeah. What they say. So with Beast 5 being the only beast we have yet to see in the story, do any of you think we'll get an event like OQ before Beast 5, before Lost Belt 7, so that Gil's speech about how one of the beasts appears? They all do. And if humanity beats them all, humanity will be changed, and that'd be the solution to get everyone back. Have a great weekend.
I mean, I don't know if it'll happen before Lost Belt 7, to be sure, but I feel like we have to, actually clear up the Beast 5 question. 5 is a huge mystery to everybody. We have to clear up that question before we resolve you Ogomeri, because otherwise the game doesn't make any goddamn sense.
I don't know. I don't think it ever said that all beasts have to... Did it say that all beasts have to be beaten before Beast 7's defeated?
Not before B7 is defeated, but definitely, if I remember Gil's speech correctly, is that once one beast appears, they will inevitably all appear until Beast 7, and then once all the beasts are defeated, that'll be enemy, humanity will move on.
Because they might do the thing, we might get done with it LB7, and then we still just have more shit to do before we actually get to the final confrontation.
Yeah, I don't know if Lost Belt 7 will actually resolve the Beast 7 situation, so there's still some wiggle room, but we will have to engage in that one at some point.
Let's see here. We're in, if it's at the end of the year, we probably have enough room for maybe 2 new events? Maybe? No, we have enough room for maybe 2 new events. One will probably be a Gouda, and maybe a 0.5 story.
Yeah, let's see. We've got, because it's April now, we know that the collab's coming in May, so, and that'll be Lost Belt 3, Road to 7, right? Mm-hmm. So that'll be 3, and then we've got 4, 5, maybe 5, 2,
we already did a
6.
collab rerun this year.
Yeah. I mean, if there's they only split the Lost Belt Road to 7 campaigns by 5, that means by October that'll be done. So that does leave like 3 months open. We may or may not get some kind of something. There is a dot between 6, so there will probably be a 0.5 in here somewhere.
Yeah. So we're probably going to get a 0.5 and probably do some new events.
Because
I don't know if it'll be an OQ
anniversaries in JP is late July, usually early August, and then summer is usually right after.
Ooh,
so, yeah, I mean, that means that, like, June and July are completely open for
Oh,
events.
wait, no, it depends on what we want to do for the Halloween slot.
Yes. I don't know if it will be a Halloween this year. We'll be rerunning the Halloween event, because that already happened. But there's usually a new event in late fall as well. We already got a lotto this year, so they did early lotto, right? So,
yeah.
No guarantee of a Neurofest or whatever late. So definitely the later half of this year is where all these questions are open. So I don't know what we'll get to. I suspect something will happen.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We did our month math.
But let us move on. Oh, but onto the second part of the question. I don't know about it getting like all the people back because, again, this is the thing I keep yelling at people about. It's all like we don't know where people actually went when everything got bleached. Everything is just gone. We don't know if it's like because with Gatia, basically what we did is we time copped everything back.
Yes, we undid the paradox, so Gatia did not delete us.
Yeah. Here, there doesn't seem to be actually like some sort of like paradox. Everything has just been, as they say, bleached, wiped over. Like, I don't know if like the texture that has overwritten can be removed and everything goes back to normal. And then we're going to have another point where we have
Blue Book's reports, like the branches cover the earth, like did try to attack people, but there were survivors, so not that we've seen any of them. But yeah, it's definitely like we would probably have to time travel again to like stop the attack, maybe? I don't know. We still have a lot of wiggle room. It may be possible to just undo the damage to the texture somehow by just removing the foreign god's influence, but we really don't know.
Again, I still think we're going to go back to Fuyuki, back to like the Holy Grail War where Marsberry won and be like, no, Marsberry, you can't win.
Or, Marsberry, if you win, remember to do X, Y, and Z so that an alien doesn't punch us.
Or something like that. Like, again, I don't know.
The other big thing I could think of is if we somehow use the, like, we defeat the alien god, but that doesn't undo the time thing, and we have to, like, somehow do something with our own tree. Because the way the trees works, like, simulating lost time and stuff.
Basically, we have to make our own lost belt.
Yeah, we have to basically, like, unbreak our time frame and, like, simulate everybody back, but because we are the true timeline, we don't have to worry about getting erased if we kill the tree. Actually, that would be a very funny, like, maybe not funny, but, like, definitely interesting, like, plot thing where, like, alright, our final move, we have to grow a tree and simulate the years we've lost, and then we have to punch that tree to let everybody function normally. Like, we grow the tree to punch it. That could be an interesting counterpoint.
Who would be our lost belt king, though?
I don't know. Olga Mary?
That could be interesting.
We just complete the circle by becoming the cryptor.
That seems a bit poetic. I like that.
Gordolf is our king. I mean, I could see it.
I can see it.
I mean, Gordolf would be the kind of guy, right? Like, we give him, like, the tiny bonsai version of the tree, and he's like, Gordolf, take care of this. And he's like, okay.
Well, honestly, Gordolf truly is probably the most human of us all.
I mean, talking about, those limitations on characters, he's a very limited man, but he tries his best. We'd have to be careful, though. If we're not too cautious, Gordolf will put a racetrack in Chaldea.
I think that'd be great.
I don't think so.
Hang on 1 second. I need to shoot this man. This man has been shot. So, let us move on then. The next one comes from B-Day Rules Are a Lie. They say, hey, Lucky Mega, how goes the stuff? Hope you're in a better state than you were last week over digital real estate. Ish. I had a semi anxiety ridden breakdown, and I held the nuclear option in front of everyone, demanded that they talk to me. It was a thing.
I feel like you've urged very close to like some proper reality TV bullshit over the past week.
Yeah. So I don't know if I won't get into details about it because it involves other people, but I'll give people a little bit of it. But they say no questions this week, just good vibes. Wah 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 wah. Still a bit down after my B-Day rolls went bust, but oh well, Kentucky just didn't want to come home. Best of luck on your rolls for Dynamouth in the coming weeks. I'm going all in for Castoria at this point.
Hey, I have 10 tickets I'm not using.
Actually, course has been good. Like, I was like at nothing. I'm up to like 120 now. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, we got a shitload of stuff.
I wouldn't mind having a good space pro boy, but I'm all about that dino wife.
Allegedly, that's easier,
Allegedly.
Listen, I've had really swingy luck with 4 stars, so who the fuck knows?
Oh, I see you're spraying graffiti! Shotgun. Justice is served. I love how when I get ninjutsu experience for running up to people and shotgunning them in the face with a very big
it's because you kill them outside of the combat phase. It's a little silly. I usually because I'm body 20 at this point also. Sometimes I just sprint up behind guys and cold cock them with a katana, and then they're just dead. Hey, where'd your head go? It's gone.
Audible gasp.
And hey, they can't raise an alarm if you do that. Spoilers. Can't be no alarm if everybody's dead, Dave.
Everybody's dead, Dave.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be throwing down for Castoria as well. Oh, someone actually found it.
Manifest as a chain reaction. All other calamities, culminating in the final evil appear. B7 is somewhere.
Actually, it doesn't say that.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily say you do them in order.
And it doesn't necessarily say that the final evil is B7, because B7 is just the end.
It's true. I mean, Gil implies that with his next line, because he says, since Beast 1 is manifested, 7 is somewhere in this world as well. Though that does seem to be the only thing he's got, is he doesn't necessarily detail the numbers. It is say it's a chain reaction, so we should assume that we will somehow get to them, but it's not necessarily, an order is not necessary. I mean, we saw that already with Foe.
I am willing to bet that Olga Marie is not actually the actual B7. I'm willing to bet this.
Well, that's a good question, right? Like, because the title of B7 was You Olga Mary, but they're also the foreign god, so I don't know. They might actually be... It could be that Olga Mary is the beast, but then the foreign god is not, and then we just go splitsies, but we'll see what happens. I would argue Olga Mary being a beast, it makes it just more likely to be summonable. But
true.
I don't know.
Will we get Olga Marie as our free SSR at the end of everything?
That could be funny. Be a little overdue, but sure.
I take it. Who wouldn't take it?
Who wouldn't take it? I feel that there are a lot of questions after 5 ended about what this whole situation with the foreign god V7 Olga Mary is. That's not really clear, and we even have that discussion with MASH where I'm like, this is confusing, but it doesn't matter. I will save the old director. So, I feel like that is something we will probably make clear when we actually get to more story content. Anyway, let's keep on keeping on.
Shotgun. I love that it's just non-lethal, too, so no one dies. Everyone just has a very, very bad day.
As they lie on the floor going, oh, shit. Put a pin in that one. There's some side quests I want to yell. There's some side quests I want to yell about, but not right now. We've got a lot of mailbag to go through. We can yell about Cyberpunk tomorrow. So, we shall yell about mailbag now. So, this next one comes from Somi Ikata Strengthening, coming soon in 2027. Maybe. She only came out last year. Give him some time, heck. Did she need a strengthening? I thought she was pretty okay.
I said, at least wait until the rerun is done. Heck. But they said, "Heyo, Lucky and Omega, hope you had a good week, and Lucas Code is on the way to getting fixed. It still hasn't happened, has it?" No. I do have the tire, though. I just gotta, disassemble a motorized vehicle, replace a part, and then reassemble it. No fucking pressure, am I right? My luck since Atlantis has been uncannily good, so I'm sending you some of mine before I get hit by a submarine when I cross the street. Insert katakana.
Yep.
I recognize my katakana is way worse than my fucking hiragana. Hang on 1 second here.
Yeah, I'm very bad.
JP to English! Save me! Why does it...
I mean, I think I get what the vibe they're going for, but it's not, because it's phonetic. It's not 1-to-1. Google is a little confused.
Oh, it's ku. Kudorakubi. 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 I don't get it.
I mean, Google Translate also translated as Gudorakubi. So it could be good luck, but I don't... The last bit, Google is like... Rrr.
I thought about it. I don't care anymore. I'm going to move on. So they say... Recently rewatched that collab with Voice on versus Gigglemish. I was wondering if you'd ever revisit that discussion, if only but just between the two of you. There's been a lot of new servants since then, so it might be something to pad out a slow week. Some servants I find interesting are Scotty, Dante, and Okita. Specifically, if Gil can do anything against her in P... I lost the question suddenly. What the fuck me? There it goes. We get a lot of people, I take that back. Not a lot of people. We get several people who constantly asking us about more us doing Gil versus the world. Like, I don't know. People I guess people really like that discussion, but
Yeah. I mean, I'd say I'm kind of like ambivalent. Like, several people have expressed an interest in it, and I'm not like against it. I'm like, no, I will never do that project again. But I'm also not like super enthused either. So
if I can ever like free up enough time where I actually feel like I could sit down and work on video projects, I definitely do it. But again,
yeah,
I have
because the other thing is the funny thing about Gil versus the World was right. Like, I did a shitload of like research and figuring stuff out for that, and obviously, Voice, set it up, recorded all the stuff, ran it through his editors. Lucky you, by your own admission, were just kind of like there to yell about stuff. You did do a little reading, but not the bulk of the work.
Listen, I'm good at feeding conversation. I make a mega talk for hours just by saying one or two lines.
Yeah. What was the thing with Voice that never came out? Was it recapping all the story?
It was something like that.
The welfare. Yeah, I think it was story related, like looking back on part 1.
I think we did like a welfare thing and a story thing. I think one of them didn't get off the ground before Voice kind of.
I think it was the story thing because it was fucking long and just he didn't have the time to feed it through his editors, and it didn't. Yeah, it just didn't stick. And unfortunately, we were not being smart and like double recording everything. But yeah, so on the Gil versus, like, I'd love to, like, maybe not love, because I just said I'm not like super enthused. I would not be opposed to doing a part 2. We've talked about this before. We would probably need some free time to like do all our research and maybe zest it up a little bit, and also you guys would have to be like really into it. It's just a thing I've casually heard mentioned like every couple of months, maybe even longer than that. Somebody will make the joke about, hey, where's Gil versus the World part 2? And I'm like, I got some ideas for it, but I'm not like, as opposed to other projects I have been like hot to trot for, I am not like raring to go on it. If I'm ever like gunning to go on it, you guys will know, I'm sure.
Again, I still have video projects that I have like, half finished scripts on, top 10 swimsuits, top 10 fluffiest. Those, those pop up on my Google Docs every once in a while, and I die every time I see them. I'm like, and stuff like that. But, nah. Yeah. Lucky just continues to make noises here. But I don't think I have anything else to say on that. Meg, you got anything else?
Nope.
Alright, then we're gonna move on. This next one comes from a master celebrating mine and Mount Nobu's 1-year anniversary at Honoji. Hey guys, seems like there's Onore Arcade afoot these days, but instead of talking about a certain beast in arcade, my question pertains to one we just met in mobile. What are your guesses to how and or why B7 took Olga Marie's form? As far as I know, Olga Marie's was incarcerated and her mind destroyed in the first Singularity. Love to hear your thoughts, and as always, Nobu. P.S. I was supposed to be on vacation this week, but picked up the cold today. I was going to fly out of town. Take my good vibes. Whoa. Because I don't have any left for me.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. So, me, personally, I think this whole foreign god situation is something that erupted from, some weird, Shiba and, some weird Shiba and Trag Mysterious whatever things. And I think, when Olga Marie got hurled into it, and was basically almost thrown into like almost a sun/black hole sent, interdimensional observation thing.
Into a literal singularity, it was described.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Might have touched something. Mm-hmm. It might be something, it might not actually be something. It could just be something fucking weird.
Yeah, I guess the question relates to what is Beast 7's true name.
Yeah.
Because there is some stuff with Moonlight in the Lost Room originally and so on. So there could be like, what you call it, like dark timeline stuff. Like, maybe Olga had to do the bad ending to complete the story on her own in the reverse. Or it could be more of a Gatia type situation, right, where Gatia acquired Solomon's body after he died, but is still his own guy, kind of, right? Mm-hmm. And until we figure out what exactly, President of all the Earth, Ultra Olga Marie is supposed to be, we can't really be clear. I do know that at least from what Gatia and several other characters have said, obviously the foreign god thing was always coming, so that part of it was supposed to be on the horizon no matter what happens. That's why Gatia went ahead with his plan when he did, right? Was he also detected that the timeline was probably going to explode, so he was like, not if I do it first! Shotgun! That's really all. That's all part 1 is Gatia calls shotgun on the foreign god. So obviously that would have happened regardless, but Olgameri is only dead because of Gaetia's interference. Thanks, Floros.
Again, I feel like there's some weird chicken and egg shit going on here.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we know multiple timelines, and we have encountered beasts who are from alternate timelines. Like, Kiara technically took herself into, like, the future or some shit. And only exists as a beast because Zepar showed her an alternate timeline. I mean, I don't know if the foreign god for sure shows up in other timelines, but definitely in our timeline, Gaetia was like, yeah, this is going to happen anyway. So there's definitely some wiggle room in, in the timey-wimey stuff. There's lots of Fate universes that are not Lost Belts that are still radically different from ours, so as like you said, there's a chicken and egg thing going on. I'm not sure what caused whom where. I assume, as far as I know, right now, I assume that our Beast 7, the person taking the mantle of Beast 7, is actually manifested as Ultra Olgameri. I am not sure if that is the same thing as the foreign god, but it doesn't seem like it, right?
Mm.
But the way that all we've got so far in English that's, properly translated and vetted is the speech at the end of 5. That feels like 7 is actually our, is Ultra Olgameri, and that's the manifestation. Because, as far as I know, it doesn't seem like the foreign god loves humans, right?
All right. So
it's there's certain requirements to be a beast, which otherwise I don't think we would meet. Sorry, you're making me do a lot of off the cuff expositing. Also, while chat goes on the side, so I'm umming and awing a lot. But basically, what I'm getting at is, as far as I can tell, Yu Olgameri is supposed to be Beast 7. How and why that happened, I have no idea on. But while she was, blown up and then thrown into a singularity in a time warp, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? There are many alternate universes. Several of the beasts we have met have come from them, right? So
something. Let's do the time warp again.
Yeah, like Kama, for instance. Kama has a Sakura body. Where did she get that? Probably from somewhere in the infinite timelines, because I'm fairly certain. Literally every named character who's not in Chaldea in the Fate universe is dead right now, twice over, because we blew up the world a couple of times. So it's not like Kama could grab the physical body of Mato Sakura that exists in our timeline, because she doesn't. Everybody's been bleached or incinerated. So beasts, even if they show up in our core timeline, do not necessarily have to come from it, right?
Right.
They can get their bits and bobs from other places because they're independent manifestation and all that other horseshit. Gaetia was, outside of time for a long-ass time. And we fought Tiamat in the distant past, so somewhere in there's an Olgameri who's broke bad, as they say. And obviously, this could be wrong. It could be the other interpretation, like maybe the foreign god is Beast 7 somehow, and then just, much like Kama possessing Sakura, just so happened to possess Olgameri before moving on to a different body. That isn't the vibe I got, because several of the way the dialogue was parsed, like, even Mash and us talked about how it really seemed like the person talking to us was Olgameri, even if she didn't realize it, right? So, I don't know, but that's something we're going to have to get clarified somewhere, sometime, when some stuff happens. Not right now, because we got a collab coming up next.
Oh, it's going to be weird, though.
God knows what we're going to run into. We'll see what ludicrousness happens when that stream happens.
Yay! But that's enough on that, I think. Let us move on.
We're decently through. Got a few more.
I think an alien god itself can be an evil of humanity, because even though we say it's an alien god / a foreign god, it is still something that is understood by humanity. Like that's
it though. Didn't the gods?
Yes, because they could still analyze the trees.
Right. Yes, that's right. They could analyze the trees. What was the thing they couldn't get a hold of?
Vespar? I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. Okay, so the Velber, yeah.
Yeah, Velber, that's what it was.
Yeah, so you are correct. The trees were something that were comprehensible to the Olympians who were, like, well settled on Earth and are part of Earth's backstory. I mean, I would also say, I think an alien god could be an evil of humanity. It would just have to come to understand us first. The only thing that's required is to have a genuine love of humanity that is twisted. Mm-hmm. So I don't like those vibes from the way the foreign god has acted and how Yu Olgameri spoke so far, but we don't know a lot, right?
And like I said, we seem to have this theme of, galaxies and whatnot. And like something that is understood by humanity doesn't necessarily need to be on Earth. It just has to be something that we have seen and observed and, have, maybe thought about for a time. Probably.
Yeah, we know a lot. We know a lot about other stuff. I always check Google News, and Google News knows I love space. So, there's a lot of research being done on the moons of Jupiter right now. Like, a lot. There's a lot of math being done.
Those are cops!
Observations being taken, especially about Jupiter's moon Europa. There is more and more stronger evidence that Europa has subcrustal oceans.
Mm-hmm.
They're even like noting that some of the flexing and shaping of the Earth would probably be because there is water under there. And where there's liquid water, there's a very, very high probability there could be life. So, like, that's something we're working on, and we'll probably continue working towards, because that would answer a lot of questions about, where we come from and how things happened here if we could find life on another planet, even if it's in our solar system. And I mean, I'm pretty sure we found, like, fossilized bacteria on Mars. Who knows? Maybe it is a panspermia thing. But yeah, so there are things that we can understand that are still big scale out there. I mean, that's how I believe that's how Voyager's NP works. Is just like he is a human creation, but can put perspective into things because he's very far away.
What is this building? I can't get into it, but there's people shooting me from inside of it. Is this a prison? What is
There's
this?
A lot of weird buildings in Night City.
Like, there's a bunch of guards in. I don't ever remember going in this building, but there's a bunch of guards. There's a guard tower. The fence is like 2 stories high. And it looks like a fucking prison.
I mean, there's only 2 things that could be in Night City. One, it's a corporate factory, which is therefore basically like a prison, or it's an actual prison.
Well, it doesn't have any markings on it. That's the thing that's killing me. I'm just like, what the fuck is this place? Is this some DLC for future bullshit, where you gotta do a goddamn prison break? That'd be awesome. Because there's a lot of dudes here that are trying to shoot me from this one fucking location. It's a little weird.
No, it does. There do seem to be indications that there is a jail that you cannot physically get into.
Okay, so this must be it. Okay, I just, shot a bunch of dudes through the wall because charged weapons are bullshit.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry about that. I was distracted. We shall move on. The next one comes from the Tyrant King contemplating to either spend the QP for level 100 Hawk or wait for day 1 max Castoria. Hey, Supreme Leader, Lucky Bosslar, and Big Gelato Omega. With the Requiem collab coming up, I'm reminded of my bad luck trying to get Kyokojo, during her JP run, but eventually got her, but it took a lot. So I asked, what is your most expensive 4 and 5 star that you had to summon? Anyway, that's it for me. Sending you good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. And hope you have a nice evening. References Love After World Domination, which is an anime that came out this core, and it is quite cute and adorable, and I do recommend everyone check it out. It's about basically the leader of a Sentai team and a, lieutenant in an evil organization falling in love and going out secretly. Super adorbs. Top percent.
I mean, I think you guys should know because it was fairly recent. I had to purchase 2 80 packs before I got Canis.
Lucky has spent way too much money, and I can't remember who. It might have been Kiara, but I have had to spend like $1,000 almost for a single servant.
I feel like it was Kiara.
Lucky doesn't try not to remember how much money he spends on servants nowadays. I'm pretty sure I would start losing hair. These guys are still trying to shoot me from this prison. How did this car get flipped?
Yeah, hostile enemies are a little shaky on giving up.
That's weird. That's fucking weird.
I mean, I don't know if he spent the most money on Maid Altar. It was just the Raikos got him.
There's a lot of Raikos. Because if I remember, that banner actually did very well on banner 1, but banner 2 was just no. I can't remember. But I think that's it for that. So let us move on. The next one comes from Sencho as Love, Sencho as Life. What they say is, hope you're all well. P.S. Fuck a barrel.
I feel like, they already made the Carthago Delanda Est. I feel like this is going to be a sign-off for a while. You're going to have to wait a long time, boy.
I mean, let it happen.
We got like a year.
Mm-hmm. So, let us move on. The next one comes from Pain. Just Pain. Who says, hello, Dofeudal Lord Lucky and Chief Retainer Omega. Hope the both of you are doing fine this week. I got an evil to report this week because after around 450 St. Cruz and 20 tickets, the elusive last copy of Malnobu I needed for MP5 refused to show up. Instead of on the final penalty, I got not one but two SSR spooks in Altera and Europa. Missing the 80% chance for the rate of SSR twice is really another level of unlucky. So yeah, pretty bummed out because of that, but I'll still keep trying to get her with my 50-day Saint Courts and monthly tickets we'll get. The fight isn't over yet. Anyways, don't got a question this week, but I'll send some good vibes. Whoa. That's all for me. Bye-bye, and remember, never give up.
Sorry, I was slightly distracted through that trying to open MS Paint so I could add a screen cap to the Great Archive.
What?
You can check it out in Patreon chat.
Oh.
It goes back to our earlier comment about what happens if you talk shit outside of spoiler channel.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I have screen grab that one for forever.
Forever! So, thank you very much for that. We shall move on.
Left.
The next one comes from Procrastinator, who's gotten into mailbag 2 times now if this is read out on air. Greetings! Have you ever tried rolling for a servant and not getting them on multiple occasions and saying, screw it, I'm not trying anymore? If range is low, free field to skip, sending good vibes to wall. Wah. Unfortunately, no, this is Lucky's problem. He does not give up.
Yeah, I've given up. But not on anybody most of them are give ups that are like vague. I think the most give up is like Odysseus, where it was just like after the 80 pack and then some, and also the Sync Courts I'd saved. I was just like, fuck it, he's permanent. I got Olympus coming up. Like most of them aren't I haven't had to give up on essentials. So, though actually, I mean, I guess I did do a little bit for Sherlock Holmes, and I still don't have Sherlock. But he doesn't get a lot of rate ups, so I don't know if I can say I've really even gone, like, I'm not going to try anymore. It's more just, like, I haven't had an opportunity to try in a little bit.
The security guard is an enemy.
As we've established. I mean, hey, I just now tried on Musashi. I didn't try very hard, but that's because I am in the hole on that Musashi problem.
Oh, I missed.
Fired, but I missed.
Listen, I tried shooting a guy point blank in the face with a shotgun, and for some odd reason I moved slightly to the left, and the fucking, column behind him got a face full of tech buckshot.
These shotguns are not the most handy of weapons.
Listen, I make them work.
I mean, it really depends on what one you're using. Like,
and
the double barrel, the smart double barrel is like just, free murder, because it's literally point and shoot. But, something like the Crusher or the Tactician is a little bit better for like a protracted gunfight.
Well, I love the Tactician, but I only got a green. I only got the green, not the green, I only got the purple blueprint for it, so I have to, really dip into my crafting resources to make one, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
But,
anyway.
Oh, sweet, made it to body 20. So, let us move on. This next one comes from a hunter who shouldn't have hunted for Musashi copies with 5 packs because he got none in 5. Jesus. Hello, Blue Oni, Omega Sodo, Omega, and Red Oni, Rakirabito. Lucky. Hope you're both doing well and not dealing with any of the pain of RNG, Gacha FC, housing, or otherwise. I have one question to ask now that LB 5.2 has been out for a bit, and there's been time to solidify opinions. And that is between Atlantis and Olympus, which one do you overall like more? If there's anything that felt... which do you overall like more? If there anything it felt one did better than the other?
It's a slight typo there. I'm sure that was
Slight
going to
typo.
be it. Felt one. Yeah, I've seen this question floating around in our community a little bit. I think overall, I'm still partial to Olympus because it just has so much. Those last 6-ish chapters are super packed, right?
Oh yeah,
so much stuff happens, and there's a lot of really important character reveals and discussions, and there's a strong dynamism with all the remaining. Oh, almost all. David doesn't show up, but almost all the remaining cryptors show up and have their own things, and we got a lot of resolution and stuff. And we do kind of get a bit more of our usual chunky send off, obviously, which is its own heartbreaking moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the last boss fight of Olympus is way more impactful than fighting Poseidon Course 3 times, even though that music is rad. So yeah, I think I would prefer Olympus over Atlantis.
I prefer Olympus over Atlantis because while Atlantis is very good, it's definitely it's all set up.
Yeah.
Every
character we meet is expending their utmost to just get us to the next part of the plot, right?
Honestly, to me, the best parts of the two greatest parts of Atlantis was, the story between, Super Orion and Artemis, and just Jason. Jason was great. Like, just seeing his characterization and all that crazy stuff, like, really, really sold it for me. Everything else was kind of just exposition and,
it was honestly, very point to point, right?
Yeah.
All right, we need to do this thing to advance the plot, to do this, to keep going. Magic Carter's a great character, but we also have great supporting characters in Olympus as well. Yeah, no. I will say I think that is something that if you want to talk about things that were done better, Super Orion is a lot better of a character and a lot better, like, set up and has a better payoff than Romulus Quirinus does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I still like Romulus Quirinus, and I like those segments he's in, but he's still way more of a, like, hand-wavy payoff. Like, we go through all this effort to summon our own Grand Servant, and he's just like, hello, I am here, I'm super shiny, blah! Alright, you won, cool, I must go now.
He just comes in and just flexes on everyone and be like, bah!
He praises the sun, Zeus explodes, and then he, makes an all roads lead to Rome joke, and then he's gone. He's just faded.
Like, I think the better thing about Romulus Quirinus is just having, Caligula being there and talking and being a very supportive dude, and you're just like, what?
Caligula but sane is a great part of the writing, yeah, talking about character moments. And obviously, even though it has a painful parting, Olympus has way more Musashi.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like, I think that's the thing, it's like, Atlantis has its, oh my god, I'm floor, but Olympus really has, like, oh my god, I am fucking floor right now.
That's why I made the joke about the basement, right? Like, I feel like we're digging down.
And it's like, and also, like, the stakes are, like, way crazier. You
still have Musashi axe, it's just you can't access the profile. I mean, it's supposed to be painful, but it doesn't matter. You can still, like, it's just in the Spirit Origin list.
So
I don't know if that technically blocks you out of picking them for your room. I don't know. I haven't tried that.
I wouldn't know. I've been like, bleh.
I don't trust that thing you said is correct.
What?
Axe.
Oh.
Axe remembering a fact about something he hasn't personally experienced. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Oh, you mean Axe Facts TM?
Yeah. You can still pick her in Meyer. Yeah, it's fine. And she's going to get a buff eventually that I won't be able to engage her in. Because I don't have one. We'll have to wait. Okay, but, right. Anything else about the Olympus?
No, they're both very good, and I don't want to think of them as separate. I really don't.
I mean, they really don't work fully separated, right? Because there's kind of a payoff, but the payoff to Atlantis is that we get to a place where we can do another thing. It's like the Lord of the Rings extended editions, right? Those are so long; those could be 2 movies, and I believe they don't fit on one Blu-ray. So there is actually like a split if you're watching them. Mm-hmm. But they're still all one story. Just because they could be separate, and we were introduced to them separately, because of how the writing was. There's not the traditional payoff when you complete Atlantis that you get with a Lost Belt, right? Like the thing you win by overcoming all those trials is you have another trial to overcome.
Doesn't Gandalf say something like that?
Probably.
No, wait, no, that was, I don't remember if it was in Lord of the Rings, but I always remember Mr. Sunshine giving Harry a copy of the Twin Towers, and the reward for good work is always more work, or something like that. But, let's see, what am I doing here? But, no, like, overall again, I don't want to necessarily, because, like I said, they're both really good, but I don't think, like, one necessarily wouldn't be as great unless it had the other. Yeah. Like, again, like Atlantis is the setup and Olympus is the payoff, and you literally cannot have one without the other. So
yeah,
again,
like if you removed Atlantis and we just got the Storm Border and like a plot and jumped in, it wouldn't be the same, because then you wouldn't have gone through all this stuff. You would just be like, oh shit, it's Zeus. And then there's the God Destroyer Alliance, which is set up through Atlantis. But like I said, Atlantis also doesn't work on its own because there's nothing to it. It's not. They're not written that way. They're not written to be separate. They're written to be 2 halves of a whole. And 6 is similar. That's not even literally split into 2 parts. That's just, hey, this script is so fucking huge, we can't put it in the game all at once.
Yeah, but I think that's all I have to say on that.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Thoughts? Let's see here. Let me think. So, let us move on. This next one comes from Olga Hippity Hoppity. Earth is now my property. Marie.
I'm gonna have to use that rhyme. That's good.
Howdy, hope you guys are having a good one. So I see this question pop up online a lot, so my apology if it's been asked before. What superheroes or pop culture characters would you like to see become servants, and what class would you like to see them in? My top choices would be Cosmic Ghost Rider as an Avenger, Deathstroke as an assassin, and Ichigo as a saber. P.S. If we don't have Emiya and Emiya assassins show up in Fake Priest story chapter, then I'm gonna start a riot. That's fair. That's fair. That's very right.
I mean, that would be useful. I don't know if it'll happen because Nasu's stingy, but allegedly he's not writing any more FGO stuff, so maybe somebody else will think that's cool. Yeah, allegedly. I don't trust him to actually not do work. Considering I feel like he said that after 5 he was done, but then he wrote 6, so.
I honestly, in regards to the question, I don't think I know, superhero pop culture things that I can necessarily do a 1-for-1. Because I'm so inured in the Fate lore that I'm just like, no, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. Reasons, mystery, and all that crazy stuff.
I mean, some of the old heroes have been around a long time. Like, Batman has been around, I think, since before the cutoff.
Honestly, I wouldn't even use Batman. I think go to Zorro.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, too. That would just be a deeper cut.
Yeah.
You could do Superman because Action Comics have existed for a long time, but I don't know if that would be interesting. It's, as you said, it's a little hard to talk about this because just, trying to think of packaging non-public domain fictional characters into this is, it's rough, right?
Is Zorro in the public domain yet?
I think Zorro must be. How old is Zorro? Don Diego de la Vega. Fictional character, 1919, by American pulp writer McCulley. That's gotta be, unless somebody's kept up the rights, it's gotta be in the public domain. At the very least, the old stories have to be, because it's over there. There's a whole Wikipedia section about the thing. Okay, court ruled that since the Curse of Capistrano on the Mark of Zorro lapsed in 1995 or before, character of Zorro has been in the public domain. So apparently it's being disputed by certain modern legal holders, but the original works are definitely in the public domain, and some of the old films are.
That's gonna be my answer. Give me a Saber Zorro.
That'd be pretty rad. I should do that for FSF sometime.
Because Zorro's old and, can be, attributed to be an inspiration for a lot of the masked hero kind of a subgenre. I do believe it said that Batman was actually Batman was, oh god, I'm messing up my words here. Batman happened because of Zorro. Something like that. Yeah. I can't remember.
I mean, Zorro's definitely foundational too, because that's, post Great War, pre-World War II, and is a, masked pulp adventurer, which is comics. Very comics. I mean, you could do references of him having multiple swords, but because that's just the thing Fate would do, right? He would Zorro, as in, as I mentioned his real name before. It was, what's the full name? Don Diego de la Vega. He would not understand why he has extra swords, but I'm just trying to think about pop culture stuff. We've talked before about some fun anime cameos. Fucking Grand Blue Fantasy had the Code Geass crossover, right? That would be fucking hilarious, right? In FGO. It would make absolutely no fucking sense. This is why FGO doesn't do other property crossovers, right? Because it wouldn't make any goddamn sense. But I think it would be funny. But yeah, I don't have any detail because like you said, because of this show, I am so wrapped up in the internal rules and structures of Fate, and it's just so much stuff wouldn't make sense. I mean, I think it makes sense in other worlds. It's just in the context of FGO, it doesn't, because that's supposed to be a Fate timeline. It's an actual on Earth timeline. Though another thing that would be hilarious if they could make it work. I'm kind of sad I didn't get more into it, especially now that not fully, but Russian Badger's videos are kind of rekindling my love for Rainbow Six Siege. Did you have a new operator out who's Japanese? I should boot up Siege and see what it's like right now. Speaking of microtransactions, Jesus. But that was always hilarious to me that fucking Arc Knights got right, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege tie-in, right? But that makes sense in that universe. It's hard to see the reverse of that. I mean, I think we've made jokes about Snake or Big Boss, right? Before. That seems like an old joke we've done, especially because William Tell came out.
Yep.
You can make Star Wars jokes. I've personally made some obscure jokes to the internet about Legend of the Five Rings gotcha, but that's not really that important. It's more just me joking about Japanese culture. So yeah, I don't know. It's just so hard to work in with the setting. So we can continue.
Let us move on then.
2 left.
2 left. This one comes from the guy who instantly traded Quick for Arts because of a certain ticket. Just here wishing you good luck. Thank you, my dude.
Well, Arts was on a ticket and Quick was not, so.
That's very true now that I think about it.
This might not. Yeah, we might actually be done. Our final question has broken one of the rules.
Yeah, no. This breaks the rule. Let me bring this up. Yeah, do number 3. Do keep the subject within the realms of Nasuverse or Studio Mega. And while Master Duel is something that you do talk about, that is not necessarily the purview of Let's Talk FGO in general. But since this is a Master Duel question, I'll leave it up to you, Omega. Do you want to go?
No, I think we should respect the rules. Like, if you want to hit me up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Related questions, we do stream something Yu-Gi-Oh! Related, and we as in the community. Lucky isn't a part of it. He wouldn't know up from down, and also would not stand to be in the room with those lunatics that long either. I put Vesper, Dallas, Axe, David, Loth, sometimes Robyn, not usually Robyn. Robyn's usually at work, but sometimes Robyn, and Marth all in a room with myself and shake him up like a salt shaker. No, it's not. Lucky's not down for that. But yeah, we have a series called Fail Portrayal where we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and mechanics, and we will, because it is a show hosted by me, break into wild tangents, which we have done wild tangents about the meta of both Yu-Gi-Oh! And Master Duel before. So, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, absolutely hit us up while we're streaming, or in like the comments on one of those streams, and I can talk about this. But no, I do not think this is necessarily appropriate for Let's Talk FGO.
Then we done.
All right. Well, that carried us into 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Sick.
Yeah.
Faffing is good. So is Cyberpunk on the side. I'm getting it in now because I gotta get back into Final Fantasy and do ungodly amounts of PvP because apparently that's the thing we do now.
So I have heard. But all right. That means that basically the meat of the show is done. We don't really have any free talk. We covered all the news. And we did lots of tangenting and other discussion type stuff. I will double check with you, because depending on how crazy the news about whatchamacallit, the collab is next week, we might be a little slam jammed, but I don't suspect we'll be that slam jammed, especially because even though obviously I'm gratefully thankful that you guys turned out to watch last week's video and the live stream as well. Some of our shorter content lately, traditionally those have not done super giga great, so I'm okay with if hopefully I have enough energy to do all the bits, making sure everything lines up. And usually you guys are very understanding if I'm like, well, I didn't have enough time. But hopefully we can all work that out. So we do have Fanservant Friday and Teach Me, those polls are complete. To remind everybody, the Teach Me is the one that won out was what are the ultimate ones. And obviously, like I said, I was not in the energy zone to crunch all those numbers and do all that research for tonight. Even though that probably would have helped pad out the show. I didn't have the juice to do it properly for you, so we'll push that one off a little bit. And Fanservant Friday as well. I guess I could do that, but it's already 11 o'clock at night. I don't necessarily want to add like an extra 20 or 30 minutes to the show already that I have to edit. So I'm okay squiggling onto that. No, it's not about FGO Duel. That'd be funny.
Heck.
Well, you can always go back and listen to the parts you weren't there for, Max. Wow, his note's really only 14 pages? Shit.
Yeah, no, it's super short.
Yeah, no wonder, no wonder this, confuses us in terms of the lore if it's that short. That's gotta be Oops All Gas. That's not even a novella. What do you call that? A micro story? I guess that could be a short story. It depends on the format, I guess. Is it actually prose? Debates for later. But yeah, that'll at least make it easier to figure out some stuff when we write about that. And I have to explain to people the thing. But Fanservant Friday, the winner was George Washington Writer, as a reminder to everybody. So hopefully we'll cover all that and the pregame for the Requiem collab next time. But yeah, if you're hurting for us content, first of all, stay tuned to What's Up. Should be coming out today when this is live to YouTube. The next day if you're watching this as a patron early. So that'll be even more content of us and stuff, possibly of Lucky playing 14 and or Cyberpunk. Who knows?
Probably be 14 tomorrow. I'll probably be doing a lot of PvP, and you can see me screaming and bitching about people who are way better at PvP than I am, and you'll understand why Lucky doesn't like doing PvP often.
Well, that'll be an interesting dynamic. That'll be fun for the peeps. But yeah, so that's usually good for a couple hours of us. We'll talk about some other stuff. hopefully between yelling matches, Lucky can actually take a sit down and talk about anime. I know that's something that's been skedoodling for a couple of weeks. And, various other things we've got to talk about. We will probably yell about Cyberpunk some more, because I have been playing that a lot over the past week.
Like now.
Yeah, I'll probably go play it after I'm done editing this, because I won't want to do anything on my PC. But that's a fun time. You can also go back and watch some of our other live streams throughout the week, because not only is What's Up live streamed, but on usually Tuesday evenings I stream Fail Portrayal, so check that out. And on Monday, Lucky and I stream whatever we think is cool in video games. Right now, Lucky is in the driver's bird for Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD.
I have done some stuff off screen, by the way.
Oh, that's good. Okay. That'd be nice to come back to that, because we've been ticking away at that, and did 1.5 dungeons last time, so
yes,
taking a decent pace at that game. So check it out. It's a fun time. And then let me see, was there anything else? It's not really relevant right now, but it's fucking long, so I would appreciate if some of y'all, speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, turned out for the progression tournament I put out today. It is a monster. We've had some short episodes lately, but this one is a beast that's almost 4 hours long. That's with my infamous chipmunk time, where I had to speed up parts of it to make it less long. So I would really appreciate if you turned out to watch that one. It's really good. Like, the reason why it goes on so long is because we have some nail biters, but yeah. It always fills me with joy to see those creep up in the view counts. Other than that, keep your eye out for Wanted Voyager. That should be sometime in the next couple of weeks. That'll be fun, because I'll get to talk about space.
Space.
Actually, I don't think it will actually...
Oh, excuse me.
It probably won't be the best visual aid, but, I would love to actually... I can always use the pale blue dot photograph.
Ooh.
From Voyager. It's just... Here, I'll show it to the patrons as a preview. It's just this, and just Earth's in there somewhere. Space. So that'll be a fun thing we're working on. It's a little bit better if you pull it up to full size. The compression's kind of blurry. I should set a new desktop wallpaper to space. Though my current desktop wallpaper, funnily enough, this is not a complete FGO faff. It is Himeji Castle with the cherry trees and blossoms. So it's a pretty rad wallpaper. But yeah, so check out our other content if you're jonesing for us, or if you've liked this more compact video. And I guess if we don't have anything else to say, I will scooch into the proper outro.
Let's scooch.
All right, let's scoot. Okay, so if you like this video, be sure to give it a like, feed the algorithm. Tell your friends, get recommended good videos, show your support. Leave your comments down below. We've asked you for your comments plenty of times, so I'm if you write us an essay, that might be a little chunky to get through, but we're always interested in your feedback and thoughts to get the vibes from people. So, tell... Arcade seems to be in a lot of people's minds, so let us know your thoughts about that one, or any of the other stuff we chitty-chatted about. And, of course, you can join our Discord, our lovely Discord we've mentioned before. It's a lovely old place. I almost burst into song, but I chose not to.
Thank you for that.
But you can check out our Discord. That link is in the video description or on our main channel page. Come join us. You can talk about spoilers in Spoiler Channel. And if you talk about spoilers anywhere else, well, talk shit, get shot. But we've got a lot of different areas where you can yell about different things. It's cool. And, of course, if you're new here and haven't already, please subscribe to the channel to get more of us. And let me tell you, currently we are at 3,061 subs. Let me tell you, those are rookie numbers. I would love if you would get us to 3,069 subs before we record next time. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, so we can make that nice joke. And then after that, I can bully you into another number. But come on, it's 61. That's just factually wrong. You can't be 60 in any number but 9. That's how that works. 64 is right out. And even if you're already subscribed, make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video, so you can catch all our streams, you can catch our weird videos when we put them out, so that whenever, whatever time, space, dimension we are in, when Lucky makes one of those top 10 videos he talked about, you'll get a notification, you could click on it right away. Because, we'll all be surprised. Lucky will be the most surprised of us all.
Yes, I will be. Trust me.
So ring that bell for notifications. You can also join our channel memberships, get access to membership badges and emotes and fun little membership messages and live streams. Help support us. Good for us and stuff. And also, like we said at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to this episode in audio format, downloadable, early, for as little as $1 a month or roughly $10 a year. At higher levels, you can get access to videos early. You can listen to Let's Talk FGO get recorded live every week. Be part of our lovely patron chat in Discord, constantly distracting us, fact-checking us, just generally, being some good lads. Pat, pat. You can't see, but I towards my second monitor, which has Discord on it, I made a head patting gesture. So there you go. But that also really helps support us and stuff, especially as I constantly mosey about getting new hardware for better games and other crap, render faster, whatever it works. Allegedly, the shortage on semiconductors is getting a little better, so knock on wood, might be able to figure out some stuff soon at a reasonable rate, not costing me a kidney or an arm and a leg.
You need those.
Yes, I do need those. I prefer all arms and legs to gacha. And yeah, I think that is about everything. So we will be seeing you back next week. Obviously, while not the biggest lengthwise, this I think was certainly a very big show with lots of lovely questions asked by Mailbag. Keep your eye out for that. And also quite a lot of news, but we'll have even more news next time to get into, plus a pregame for an event that I'm sure is mystifying to most people, but is at least board game themed, so won't that be fun?
Yay!
So check that out next week. Make sure to check out What's Up, like we said, in our regular Monday streams. And I mean, I've heard some things about this collab. I don't even know if we'll get to the pregame. I'm sure we'll get into that when we talk about it, though. But that's a hint to keep you hooked on for later. It's a clue we're gonna need later to survive. This has been Let's Talk FGO for this week, recorded on 4/22, and we'll see you next week for more. Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good evening.